have begun streaming. So to everybody who does end up popping in today, throughout the entirety of the session, really, this is going to be the first live podcast session for the Anatomy Podcast. This is a very, very important opportunity for me, as basically, while we attempt to help Mr. Paul Benson here and Shaylease cover what is some medical bills through a GoFundMe, well, basically, we get the opportunity to not only tell the story of a music enthusiast personality, right? Someone who's been involved in the scene, who's been involved in the world of music in Arizona, but Mr. Paul Benson here, who has so kindly given us some of his time, given us the opportunity to tell his story, really. Well, before it shut down and before the pandemic really hit, and basically until further notice, it has come to my attention, Mr. Paul Benson here is not only a friend of previous guests that we've had on the podcast, that being Derek Ryan, now of Invirulent, but he was also the owner of Club Red as a venue before it ended up shutting down. And there were a great many times growing up in my earlier teenage years and my young adult years where I went to shows there. It was really one of my favorite places to go in Downtown Mesa when the bands weren't big enough, didn't have the budget for, or didn't schedule in time concerts, shows at the Nile Theater or the Nile Underground. Back in the day, Club Red was the venue that a lot of bands ended up starting in. And there are a lot of different projects, including and not limited to The Word Alive, Bless the Fall. Let's see. I would say The Exiled Martyr, Apocalypse Pony, possibly even Viramia, Cardivox. I'm not too sure. All I know is that, well, when it's not pub rock, when it's not Rebel Lounge, when it's not Nile Underground or Nile Theater, well, Club Red is usually the place where bands went to back in the day. But since the pandemic hit the way that it did, and again, until further notice, really, I've understood that the Club Red ended up being a, quote, pandemic loss for the music industry, and especially for smaller bands as they're attempting to climb the ladder that is the counterculture music industry or the counterculture music scene. So, needless to say, this will probably be one of the biggest things to ever happen to this podcast for quite some time. And I am more than honored to attempt to tell Paul's story, attempt to pull some funds together, help him and Shaylease reach the goal that they're meaning to reach over on the GoFundMe, which I do believe after visiting the link, it is about $7,000, which is a big goal to reach person by person. That's at least $1 from 7,000 people. And it seems that you guys have been making decent progress. If I go over on the GoFundMe now, let's go ahead and check out where we are at as far as the goal. Shaylease, do you know where you guys are as far as the
the goal actually is $50,000 because not only did we have to buy a bunch of stuff out of pocket, but now we're going to have to get a mobility vehicle that, he can access and get to doctor's appointments is really our hardest part. And that is not cheap, even the used ones.
No. Yeah, exactly.
and it doesn't cover that.
Yeah, that's fair. And therefore, we have an even bigger accomplishment. We have an even bigger milestone to conquer today, ladies and gentlemen. Even just among the 928 subscribers that I currently have, well, let's just say if we do the math just with like close to 1,000 people, right? You said $50,000, right?
Yeah.
$50,000, and we divide that by 928. Well, that would at least be $53 per person, and that would be with 928 people. So, needless to say,
every penny counts.
Every penny counts, exactly. And
$1.
Yeah, right. My goal, by all means and measures today, is to be as authentic as possible while we are trying to pull in some money to help Paul here, because he is an absolute legend. And this is kind of like one of the forks in the road for me personally, just having the chance to talk with him and tell his story. And of course, we also have his amazing wife in call with
Sorry,
us.
it's hard over
No,
here.
you're good. She will also be assisting us today, assisting us and Paul. So we really appreciate you, Shaylease, getting everything organized the way that you have so far. A whole bunch of different operations that Derek has told me about that I was absolutely oblivious to, involving 13th Floor Entertainment's management team, I do believe. Just a whole bunch of different stuff going on to try and help good old Paul here. But starting off, I mean, obviously this is a different breed of podcast. This is a different breed of session for, we're not exactly interviewing a band today, but we're interviewing one of the people that allows those bands to be seen, right? It's very, very different. Managing a venue, taking over a venue, and even if the venue is no longer open until further notice, that's a big thing. But there's a lot more to Mr. Paul Benson than just what is Club Red, what was Club Red, to the AZ local rock and metal bands. This gentleman, he did his homework. He went to MCC. He's been in bands before. He is a vocalist for a project. Even in his current situation, like, he's still a vocalist for a project. You know what I mean? So he has been doing a lot. He's been involved in the Arizona scene for a very, very long time. Needless to say, sir, it is an honor to have you in session and to be to have the opportunity to take some time to tell your story. So thank you and Shaylease for wanting to be a part of this tonight.
Absolutely.
So getting started, as we do per formula here, but again, this isn't a band, so we're gonna have to navigate things a little bit differently. That's okay, you know. That's where the improv comes in, right? Basically, what I want you to do, sir, is take us as far back as possible, because I mean, all legends have their stories, right? All legends have their tall tales and like just the adventures that they've been on, that they then speak about by the campfire in the middle of the night out in like the forest, down in the woods, or even out in the desert. It's a good old campfire story, I'm sure. Half of the adventures that you've been on throughout your life up until this point, and just probably things that you've been thinking back on a lot recently, you know, just trying to appreciate those moments, thinking back, nostalgia, right? That's really the key word for that. It's nostalgia, looking back, appreciating history, appreciating your legacy, and really just hoping that through the collective effort of the AZ counterculture scene, just the whole Phoenix Valley, right? Tucson, wherever they may come from. Now it's like, well, we got to try to look forward, and we got to just get over this obstacle, conquer this goal, conquer this obstacle. But of course, now is a little bit, it's time to bring nostalgia into the forefront, I do believe. So take it away, sir, honestly. What I want you to do, of course, with your wonderful wife's help, is just go back as far as you're able to. Like, let's go ahead and talk about some of the more, you know, awkward first experiences that you had when you were getting into rock, you were getting into metal, and, you know, maybe some of the first couple steps you made in becoming the legend you are today, sir.
Well, I've always been into like metal and punk and stuff like that, like ever since I was a kid. And you know, when I first started in the audio scene, I started at Club Red because when I went there, I ended up talking with my good friend now, Patrick Driscoll, who is an amazing audio engineer, by the way. Who you know, I met him and at Club Red, and he was talking to me, and I was talking with him, about how it sounded so good and why it sounded so good in that room. And then I became an audio intern after that. That was about 10 years ago now.
With the audio intern stuff?
Yeah,
Oh no, like 15 years ago now.
15 years ago.
What about your bands that you were in when you were in high school? Like when you first got into playing?
Bands I was in high school were Gringos Locos, which is a terrible name.
Derek been with you?
Oh, and then I was in After the Death of Man after that with Derek Ryan. And he recently posted some videos about that, which are really cool.
Playing guitar or doing vocals or what?
I actually started off in the metal scene playing guitar when I was in After the Death of Man and Gringos Locos. And then when I got into vocals, I started getting like much better at it as I was going along. And basically what it came down to was I needed to keep my microphone so I could keep working. But I wanted to do a metal project, and that's when I did Unholy Monarch.
Gotcha. And I've definitely heard a little bit about Unholy Monarch. After all, that is the main project that is featured on your Facebook page. That's, you know, where you are the vocalist. So musician to musician, as I'm myself becoming a little bit more seasoned as a bassist, I'm more or less learning Japanese rock bands right now, or Japanese rock songs right now, as opposed to doing the homework and learning the type of genres, learning how to play the type of genres I want to play for myself. So what ended up getting you into guitar when you first ended up picking that up? It was those bands and stuff, and that's where it led to, right? But how young did you end up wanting to get into guitar?
Well, I actually started off as a bass player at 14, but I got really into like Cliff Burton and stuff. So I didn't play bass like traditional bass players played. So then I got into guitar because I wanted the guitar players to be like, better. And that's when I started playing guitar. I was about 15.
Sweet. And that's pretty early. That really is early. I know that for me, it was maybe like 14 when I started investing into like wanting to learn bass, because it started out with dubstep and stuff. I was super into Skrillex when I was younger. And I remember just being addicted to the way that the music sounded, but I'm like, wait, these aren't guitars. This is just programmed, right? This is just someone like dancing across a keyboard with their fingers and turning a couple knobs, like jamming up and down a couple switches, you know, like you would do an EQ for a venue. And I remember thinking to myself, I'm like, wait a minute, but why aren't there any bands that are making dubstep, right? Why aren't there any like Skrillex-esque dubstep artist where he also has a bass guitarist on stage with him, and, you know, kind of making it more rock, especially then later learning of his roots and From First to Last, right? So I remember my old man, he got me my 4-string white to black fade Ibanez, 4-string Ibanez bass, pretty standard model for the Ibanez brand. And like that was kind of like one of the only gifts, one of the only meaningful gifts that I ended up getting from him, and I still have it. Love the thing to death. And now I have the drop A tune strings, like the fat strings, right? So of course there usually ends up being demand, right? That's kind of the cliche. The drummer's like the hardest thing to find. And then bass is like, well, it's guitar, but it's simpler. It's meant to follow the guitar. So what was kind of the moment that either you or someone else was like, yeah, we need you to play guitar though? Like, how did you make the transition from bass to guitar?
Oh, I just started a different band.
Right. Fair enough.
Why, like, was it like the technical aspect of it, or why did you like guitar more?
Because I like the technical aspect a little bit more.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, fair enough. Not everybody's like super into instead of like there being feedback from the guitar, right? It's like actual just warbling that reminds you, like it feels like you're being thrown into a black hole or something, right? I know that for me, I have yet to really participate in a live setting other than having an amp in here with me, playing the bass every now and then. But because I'm on the second story and I'm in a house of like 6 to 7 people, 2 other people, including myself, we all do call center jobs during the day. Well, it doesn't really end up being that applicable. Like it would have to be if everybody left for the weekend, right? And went on vacation, that I can go. And I mean, I've personally, I fell in love with the way that Fieldy from Korn brought just energy to the table, brought energy to the stage, the way that he smacks, like the way that he slaps. If it's not Flea, it's Fieldy, you know? So that's kind of like how that's how I ended up falling in love with bass. And needless to say, I should have been a lot more seasoned by now. But when you then hyper fixate on being a vocalist and learning how to eventually do polyphonic or like 2 vocal in 1 vocal styles and stuff, well, now it's like, okay, now I'm ready to play bass. Now I'm actually ready to become a real musician and, most likely make more grandiose steps with my own projects and my own efforts going into the near future. So of course, it was more or less a technical aspect, that, and you were kind of bouncing back and forth between bands, right? And I mean, it is very, very starter pack. I think it's very gateway for any musician, whether you're a guitarist, drummer, bassist, or maybe you play the flute, right? Maybe someone wants an ocarina in their metal band. Who knows, right? What ends up being really important is that you don't really end up creating anything that then goes into the void itself, right? And over time, that's kind of what I've understood with most musicians, is that in that process, you just want to make sure that all the music period ends up getting used. It ends up getting utilized, because that could be in studio time, really. That you're creating these things and creating it in the moment. It's like, well, this doesn't feel right, but this does sound cool. So like put that away. And then all the musicians I've talked to who are like, yeah, we have like 60 songs worth of that. Different ideas that just disappeared into nothingness and might never be used. I'm like, that's so sad. Like, and then ghostwriting is a totally different animal, but it might as well be the same thing. Just one is like, pre-made accidentally. The other one is pre-made with commission. So you had those 2 bands and you went from bass to guitar. So how would you say things might have been like challenging, really, learning how to play guitar? Because it's a lot more complex than learning how to do vocals. You get that grit, right? You get those calluses on your fingers eventually, from either strumming or just plucking a bass, right? You get those calluses, but that ends up being the demonstration, the visual representation of hard work. So whilst doing that homework, right, bouncing in between those 2 bands, not exclusively being a vocalist, so you end up being a more important asset, right? Even in high school, hell, it's even more vital when you are in high school, because people are like, yeah, I want to be in a band so bad. They're doing like chicken scratch deathcore logos in their notebooks like I did. Like, yeah, I want to write like 15 different albums, and I'm ready to go. I just need a drummer, a guitarist, and a bassist because I want to be the vocalist. But they end up sounding like a squirrel or something, or they sound like Elmo. So during that process, when you were bouncing back and forth, would you say it was difficult to be consistent enough to be in 2 different bands, or like, was it challenging being in those 2 projects, or because maybe you were already a seasoned musician, like it was almost seamless. It was just like you were spending a lot more time learning music and making music than maybe most people would at the time that you knew.
Yeah, when I was playing bass, when I was transitioning into guitar from the other band, I was doing punk, like Seattle punk.
Okay.
And so when I started the other band, I started doing metal.
Was that hard?
It wasn't too difficult.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. Why would you say it wasn't too difficult? Because I know that there are plenty of musicians these days who like thinking of having to be in 3 different projects to be relevant is intimidating. I know it's intimidating for me. So why wasn't it difficult for you at the time?
Because I didn't have a job.
Yeah, fair enough. I mean, yeah, after all, you were in high school. I know.
How much
It
time
was-
did you dedicate?
Yeah, that's a good question. There you go.
I dedicated a lot of time to playing. When I was in after the Death of Man days, I was practicing around 6 hours a day.
That's really impressive. That's crazy. You never got bored of like the stuff you were practicing, or were you consistently like learning more stuff as you went along?
I was consistently learning more stuff as I went along.
Fair enough. And therefore, people, that's the homework. The more time you end up putting day by day into your craft, guaranteed, the more you're going to want to invest into that. Because you're like, well, the people's 9 to 5s are my like 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. or something like that. Just doing music, when I'm not at school, just being involved and fixating on that, right? Focusing, honing in on it. That is your target. Target acquired, mission log. Gotta learn the riffs. Gotta learn the ba-bang. When for most people at the time, even then, I know when I was in high school, I was like, yeah, I should probably get a job soon. And I only ended up getting a job near the tail end, and even that was overwhelming for me. What was it difficult, like balancing music and school at the time, being like a teenager and stuff, or was that pretty simple back then as well?
It's pretty simple back then as well.
Fair enough. Now, of course, there are all these various things we're talking about that, well, these days are a lot different, right? Whether it be the economy, the mindset, the psychology of it, and just, of course, it's a lot more accepted these days, but you still need to work your 9 to 5. It's like, yeah, I mean, you can be a rock star. You can be in a rock or metal or punk band or a gore grind band. You're going to want money. That way you can continue to fund to that stuff. So like, obviously, back then that was MySpace. That was pre-social media. How different were things back then, and were they more simple because there was no social media to you?
I think there was a lot of more word of mouth going around.
Fair enough. Yeah.
And like once you got a MySpace page and then a customized MySpace page, and it just kept getting crazier and crazier.
That's when New Times was really big too.
Right. Yeah. Wow. And that's another thing too, is my co-host, Finn the Orking. Shout out to you, buddy. That was definitely his era as well. It's just all the MySpace stuff, like finding out about all the deathcore bands and meeting Mitch Lucker of Suicide Silence. Like, that's definitely his era. And it's funny how often these days I'm discovering that the new bands that I'm hosting on my show were also from that era. Like, I just completely missed out on all that stuff. But for you, it was metal, it was punk. Over time, because you ended up being a vocalist for, I do believe, a death metal band, if I'm not mistaken, with Unholy Monarch. Definitely has like a blackened, like mayhem vibe to the name, but I can definitely offer transparency that I've never listened to it before. But with those two prior projects, over time, which one did you end up preferring? Whether it be your role or just the music behind it, the culture behind it, what did you end up preferring more?
Guitar.
For in what band?
For After the Death of Man.
Yeah.
After the Death of Man. Gotcha.
And AZ Locals.
Heard. And as far as genre too, obviously Club Red would end up hosting a lot of different like genres of music and stuff. So it's not like you only ever hosted metal bands there. I'm sure when you ended up taking over, you ended up hosting quite a few punk bands as well. But so you ended up preferring guitar. So therefore, in the technical aspect, in the aspect of playing the music, right? Guitar is naturally more complex than bass and always will be. But for you, what is your, if not trying to make you choose between two major genres of music and just counterculture genres of music, what are some of your favorite things that you saw or that you remember seeing that just have stuck with you since participating in either one of those cultures in a live playing setting? I hope that was not too complicated a question.
No, my favorite band is Cattle Decapitation.
And you like also you work a lot.
I love them so much, and I've had to mix them a couple of different times, and they've always been like, dude, you put that reverb in the right place, and you know, like stuff like that, like the little things. And yeah, just I've enjoyed working with them so many years.
I bet. Cattle Decap is a massive band. I didn't know you worked with them. That's so cool. Their recent album, Terrorcite, so fucking good. So good. And to think that was like 8 years in the making too. Yet they also had Death Atlas in 2019. Just blows my mind. Pardon me. So more or less the question I was looking to ask that last time is like, what are some of your favorite things in the culture of punk and in the culture of metal? Like, what are some of your favorite things in either one of those genres from the experiences that you've had?
Well, the mosh pits are certainly different.
Yeah.
Mosh pits will vary from genre to genre.
Fair enough.
I've always enjoyed mosh pits. I don't do them anymore because I'm old.
Yeah. Older, not old.
But yeah.
What else do you like from the culture?
I really like how tight-knit the culture is.
In which one?
In the metal scene and the punk scene.
What do you think kind of separates them from the experiences that you've had? Like, what separates punk and metal for you, other than the genre, of course, and the genre label?
Well, punk, it was always like, you know, genre specific also, because you had skate punk, you had gutter punk, you had, you know, like all the other types of punks. And then same with metal, you got your death metal guys, your black metal guys, your mayhem dudes.
Yeah.
Your tech death dudes.
Tech death is just, that's basically cocaine metal to me. Like, of course, you got power metal, which that's cool. That's fun and all. But tech death is just like power metal, but a little bit faster, usually.
Yeah.
It's just insane. I don't know if anybody is planning to, I don't know if you guys are planning to go to the upcoming Chaos and Carnage tour. Obviously, you know, you got 50 grand to conquer. So,
There won't be any concerts for a little bit.
Yeah. Fair enough. Fair enough. I look forward to going to that for the first time, though. I have yet to acquire the tickets, but a lot of pretty solid bands playing on that, including Cattle Decap and the Zenith Passage, which is, like, for me, they're definitely up there with Archspire as far as being a tech death band.
Mhm.
So that's more or less like recalling more or less the commentary we've provided so far, right? That was talking about like you first getting into music. It's been about kind of your high school journey. So kind of going from high school into college, right? Or beyond high school, really, because that's just life, you know. What was your first major like milestone or just major thing for yourself that you did as soon as you got done with high school? Or maybe were you already working into your programs, your audio engineer programs at MCC? Were you already working on those or building up to those from high school? Like after you graduated high school, what was the next step for you?
Well, basically, I was writing a bunch of music, and I was in a bunch of bands, like doing stuff, and promoting the local scene and whatnot. And oh,
Hold on, I got you.
thank you.
Promoting a bunch of bands.
Yeah, promoting a bunch of bands and stuff. And I was actually working in fine dining at the time. So I was working a lot of hours, and I got to the point where I got a job offer that I almost couldn't refuse. And that's when I quit fine dining and got like myself deeply involved in the music scene. And that's when I decided to become an audio engineer. Because even if I couldn't do like the music I wanted, I'd be doing music.
Yeah. Yeah. You'd still be basically building the bones of like and doing the final touches, really, for a lot of artists and eventually bands like Cattle Decapitation. Like that's a big thing. That's a huge thing for death metal, for heavy metal, for metal in general. Like they might not be Metallica big per se, but when it comes to truly heavy metal and what all the bands that we look to today, when it comes to like, okay, I want to be like Cattle Decap or I want to be like Pantera. Like those are two different things, but they're about the same tier now after all this time. So Derek let me know that you ended up going to MCC. Is that where you started right off the bat? Were you looking into other schools? Like what was going on at the time when you were first wanting to become an audio engineer?
When I first became an audio engineer, I actually started at Club Red
As an intern.
Working my way up into different shift levels. And, I got to the point where I was like, okay, I'm making $50 a night, and this dude's getting paid $200,000 a year. There must be a knowledge gap.
Yes.
So I went to MCC so that I could start learning the basic principles of the math and science behind it.
And that's incredible. Like the thing is right now, I happen to be looking into an audio engineering school called Crash. It's based over in Chandler. I was actually talking on the phone with the lady today, and we've been like wanting to do that. We've been wanting to get me started with it for such a long time because at least Crash, it's such a smaller campus, but there's so much going on with that campus. The building looks small from the outside, but then you go in, it's like nice and cozy, right? So you ended up getting into the audio engineering program that you did with MCC after being an intern at Club Red. Kind of like, oh, okay. There's a lot more I need to access as far as knowledge. So getting signed up with the program, how many years did it take you to end up accomplishing the goal that you wanted to with through MCC for audio engineering?
I did the 2-year program.
So then you have college knowledge time. Did you acquire an associate's for audio engineering or?
Yeah.
Nice. And would you like, obviously that brought forth a lot of opportunities. Do you ever look back and say like, man, I wish I had like got a bachelor's or something instead, or like how do you kind of like look back and, you know, maybe think about other paths if there were any, like, no, maybe I should have done this instead, like since acquiring that associate's degree for audio engineering. Do you have any regrets regarding the degree?
No, not at all.
Good.
It was a really comprehensive program. You got to learn from a bunch of different people. And, you know, the camaraderie was really good there too.
Did you end up meeting anybody at MCC that you are still like actively involved with in a music industry setting with today?
Not exactly at this point, but I am still involved with Patrick Driscoll. He works for the ASU Downtown Music Program, and I currently am technically still employed at ASU for the music program at Tempe location.
Sweet.
Yeah, he's the lead AV tech there. So his associates still led him to teaching people that are getting their degrees.
Gotcha. No, that's actually really cool. So, you know, at the very least too, you know, you're kind of still in the cool kids club when it comes to ASU. So, I mean, that's pretty cool as well. I know I would definitely be proud of that. So after exiting MCC, after those 2 years of doing the homework and just really, really cracking down, like, hell, I don't even know if it was a difficult process for you. Like just kind of cracking down and again doing the homework for that degree, like, was it difficult at all or was it pretty seamless?
For me, it was pretty seamless because I did a lot of the work already.
Yeah.
Patrick taught you a lot before you even got there.
Yeah. And, you know, I really like, you know, hunkered down, got into it, made it a priority.
Also, surprise, we have a friend joining us in session, Derek. Let's see. Derek Ryan. All right. Is he in here yet? There he is.
No
What's up?
Son of a bitch.
Session's going pretty good so far. Good.
Nice.
Good to have you in here
My
too.
room is an absolute mess because I'm currently rearranging my studio, so it's great.
Gotcha.
That's my excuse, and I'm sticking to it. So
I love the Spite shirt too. I was wanting to grab one of those really bad, but I ended up being broke, so I couldn't acquire that one. But yeah, welcome to the podcast's first live stream, man.
hi, handsome. Can I give you a forehead kiss yet?
No.
He's very quick to that response. We love that. It's kind of what's about him.
Oh, we've known each other for so many years.
Well, I mean, I don't know if there was anything you were wanting to add. Basically, we're talking about the time in his life where he was like going to MCC.
Oh,
and yeah, like we're already pretty deep into it.
Man was an absolute robot.
Absolute machine, exactly.
Yeah.
From what I've understood,
he didn't have any girlfriends, probably, like, at all.
No, not one girl comes to mind that hung out for a little while and then was just gone immediately.
Fair enough.
Paul, remember Emma, I believe was the name?
I think so.
Yeah. Not worth remembering. At least not for him. Yeah. I was I living with you at the Village Tree, whatever, when you were going to MCC?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I had just moved back to Phoenix, and I was going to ITT Tech, and he was going to MCC, and yeah. I don't know, whatever you gotta ask or say. I'm just happy to see him.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I think now that we have you in session, what we can do is kind of like take a couple steps back, and let's kind of talk about your perspective on good old Mr. Benson here. Kind of tell us about like how you and him first became friends and like,
Yeah.
all that shit.
So I met Brandon through a really, really, really funny Craigslist ad. And I showed up at Brandon's house, and Brandon welcomed me in with open arms, and we hung out. And then his exact words were just like, "You got to meet my boy Paul. You got to meet Paul. Like you got to meet Paul." And I was just like, "I don't know who this Paul is, but if he's as cool as you, I would love to meet said Paul." And we arranged for Paul to come over one time, and I was on the phone with him while he was like heading over, and I think he was getting off his job from like telemarketing or something, and he would play his guitar like on the light rail, like studying like his guitar grimoire books. He has them all. He's a far better guitarist than people might think, especially knowledgeable about chord shapes and interesting ways of like shaping and phrasing and spelling out chords. And yeah, he showed up. I was scared shitless because I'm like, I don't know who this guy is. You know, he seemed pretty friendly, but not standoffish. But Paul's got a very way about him. You've been hanging out for I don't know how long now. You probably have noticed it.
Yeah.
He's not an asshole, but he's very. He's got good opinions. I love him. And I think we talked music, just different bands, like, hey, what have you been listening to and stuff. And Intronaut's first release on Century Media came out, Prehistoricisms, and he loved like the last song on that, and he would just not shut the fuck up about it. It was, it's called like The Reptilian Brain or something like that. And yeah, he was talking about like how it was evolving and all this, but we were just talking about a bunch of different stuff and guitar, and he had his guitar with him and a practice amp. I had my guitar and a practice amp, and yeah, I think I said, hey, let me see like what you can do, like let me like listen like your ideas, like where you like at with your guitar playing, like what do you want to play type stuff.
Yeah.
And he started jamming, and I was like, all right, I fuck with this. I think that's where like the whole conversation, because I was like, this is very post metal. This reminds me of like Isis and Mouth of the Architect and the Ocean and Intronaut. He's like, yeah, Intronaut. And I'm like, okay. And so I remember that's kind of probably where that sparked. And then I started like playing with him. Or like he stopped and he's like, well, let me see what you can do. And then I play, and then his exact words just over and over again were fuck you, fuck you, fuck you. Because
Fuck you, man.
because he was playing it. I was like, man, that's pretty good. And he was just like, fuck you. You can't say what I did was good and then do that. Fuck you. No, you're not going to patronize me. And I'm like, no. What you did was actually like, I liked what you did. And he was like, no, fuck you. And it's just like, man, I worked so hard to get good at guitar just to have people get mad at me for it. Sick. But
that's always a great thing.
But Paul started the whole "fuck you, Derek" thing. He would. We would go do open mic nights and kind of just do like an acoustic version of our music and After the Death of Man, just kind of spread the word, maybe, you know, get some some people and stuff like that. It was fairly technical music, but it was also fairly melodic, so you could like listen to it, and the guitar playing was intricate enough that I think it would be, you know, fun to listen to and be like, oh wow, like those fellas sure can play. But we would crack jokes and be like, yeah, we ran out of milk. We're trying to get some milk money right now. We have cereal but no milk. So every cent you donate is to the cereal fund. And we'd get done like playing or like a song or something, and he would look at me, look out in the audience with the microphone, and be like, and behalf on everyone in the audience and myself, fuck you, Derek. Just like, cool.
The same tradition that would then carry over into Break and Blast, eh?
I mean, it would carry on for years. So then he was the vocalist of Unholy Monarch, and I would come up and be at the front of the shows, and I would annoy the drummer to no end and be like, hi, Mike. He'd be like, "Shut up, Derek."
Good shit. No, that's great. And
Like-
it's always so fun when like you're able to look back on that and like not have animosity towards the situation.
Oh, I
like,
never had
yeah.
animosity towards any of that shit because it was just hilarious to me.
Yeah.
I'm just like, people in the room are like, "Who the fuck is this dude?" And I'm just annoying every band member.
Yeah.
But
Gotta love that shit.
yeah, I met Paul, and then almost immediately we formed after the death of man. We were just jamming, working on ideas. I've been using Tablet for years. Paul knows. I wrote like some ideas. We went and we jammed over at the Depraved Heretic practice spot over off of like Perry or something like that between University and Rio Salado. And Andrew Brashears was actually going to be our drummer for a while. He's the main dude in Depraved Heretic. But he made the mistake of telling me something about guitar. I say that respectfully. He was just like, "No, what you're doing is major. That's bad. Like you're supposed to minor key, blah blah." And I was just like, "Do I come over and tell you how to play the drums?" And he was like, "No." And I'm like, "Shut the fuck up." It wasn't exactly that, but it was that mentality, and he didn't like that like at all. And then our good friend Lloyd was gonna play bass, but Lloyd fell asleep on the couch. So the bass player of Depraved Heretic stood up, Flynn Hargreaves, and got up and started jamming with us. Was like, "All right, what chords you hitting? What's this?" I'm like, "This is the tuning. We're in drop B flat." And he's like, "B flat?" And I'm like, "A sharp, however you want to spell it." And maybe Paul was over there going A sharp, and I'm like, "I don't fucking care, dude." And then yeah, we wrote some stuff, we jammed it out, and then Paul taught me a lot about songwriting, his specific view and like how he like would picture things, like because I was a songwriter, but it wasn't like a very visual thing in my head. I just kind of heard sound and would guide things to where I wanted it to be. But he had this whole idea of like picture and imagining like what like a character would be going through and like a synapse, like visualize exactly what the music, like if you're watching a movie, what's on screen while the music is playing. And I was like, fuck. my ADD brain was like, yeah, motherfucker's spitting. And he came up with that idea or that concept when he was trying to explain an album that we were trying to write called Horrors. I don't know what Horrors is. Maybe Paul can fill you in on that. It was like a story, a concept of something that he was all behind and thinking of. I was just there jamming out some riffs. And he would describe, like, all right, this is like the character like finding a vortex or something. And I'm like, all right, it'd be this. And like, we were like, okay, he's falling through a hole and he's like opening onto a portal and he's all right, it gets quiet. Like, the world is like empty and fast. And I'm like, okay, so it's this. Like, all right, and the shit starts piling up again. And it's like, it gets louder. And like,
yeah,
it was a really dynamic thing that we were working on. We never finished it. We wrote song 1 and then we have song 2 that we were working on. But a lot of stuff happened. I'm sorry, I'm like linear but not. I'm like jumping all over the place, so I'm very sorry about that.
It's okay.
But yeah, we met. We started after the death of man. We went to the rehearsal, and then the very next day, the people I was living with in Phoenix were like, "You gotta go." It was a husband and wife, and the wife out of nowhere started not liking me, and I was just like, so I was like, "Paul, hey, I know I just met you, but you want to live together?" And he was just like, "I've been staying over on like the west side, and I've been working at this place called Club Red Owl, and yeah, I would love to have a place over here because it would like be better for like getting commute to like this venue." And I was like, "Okay." He's like, "I would just still take the light rail out to work, but I would just come back and then I would be able to go to the venue and then I wouldn't have to worry about getting home." I was like, "Yeah, sure." So we went, we got a few places, we found a place, and it was Kim, right? That was the owner of Club Red. He put down the money so we could move in. Ken?
Yeah.
Ken or Kim?
Kim.
Kim, yeah.
Kim
So the
Thomas.
original owner before they passed away. yeah, they loved Paul. They loved his work ethic. They saw everything, and Paul got the deposit for us, and like the next day we were moving in. That was at 950 South Terrace. That wasn't Villa Tree. That was our first place that we lived. And boy, did we have a great / awful time living there.
Okay.
Oh no, Kim did the deposit on Villa Tree, I think. Or was it? I don't remember. It's so many years ago. Anyways, I remember we lived at a place on Terrace. It was really close to ASU.
It was University Crossroads. It might have been something different when you guys lived there, but I lived there like literally maybe at the same time or a year after that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, it wasn't a bad place, but we made it a bad place because I'm dumb and Paul followed my dumbness. It's the easiest way to put it.
Dumbness?
Okay, I'll explain this in greater detail. So we moved in, we didn't really have any furniture. And I took the bedroom because I was paying, I think, the majority of the rent. And Paul also, like, he was just he pretty much had the whole living room to himself. That was his bedroom. I had the bedroom that was my bedroom. And but because he didn't have a bed, because he didn't have anything, we were just like doing laundry one day, and I saw a couch outside, and I was like, "Oh, free couch." So we brought it into our apartment because we're very smart people. And then over the next few days, Paul was like, "Man, I'm getting spider bites. Like, there's this one spider just like really likes me, I guess."
Oh boy.
Bed bugs.
Bed bugs. Ah, shit.
Brought into our apartment because I was like, "Free furniture, Paul. You got a thing to sleep on now." And yeah, it was an absolute nightmare.
I haven't had to deal with that just yet, but I've heard many horror stories. Like,
we got rid of
fun.
We got rid of everything we owned, and we slept in the kitchen in sleeping bags, surrounded by like diatomaceous earth to try to like keep bed bugs from getting to us. Like, me and Paul have been in the trenches together, so
it's war out here, boy.
It was. I'd wake up at like 3 a.m. to go to my job at Pizza Hut because I did a school order, which is I think like 160 large pizzas and like 50 pan pizzas, and I had to get that all done, made, cooked, and out the door by like 8 a.m.
What the fuck?
It was insane. I was delivering to like the Mesa High School or something like that.
Jesus Christ, dude.
Yeah, so
insane.
It was just me.
I mean, dude, anybody in your position would like be ready to rip their hair out after getting all those hundreds of pizzas done. Like, oh my God.
So the process was like almost like songwriting. Like, I would just get like a base of like everything first, and then I would like do all like the toppings and stuff, and then move on, and then just like start the next stack of like 50 or 30 or whatever.
Wow.
So because it would take forever to stretch, sauce, and then top.
Yeah.
But it's like stretch, like 30 of them.
Yeah.
Sauce all of them, cheese all of them, top all of them. You know, it was. And then Paul had the awesome idea that I did, but I never like marketed or like anything like that. He was like, "You should make a breakfast pizza," because Paul is the greatest man that has ever lived. He just always has the greatest ideas, whether it's in marketing or business or just life in general. He was like, "Breakfast pizza, own that shit, make it, put it on the menu, like make money." And I'm just like, dude, it's a fucking corporation. Like, I don't even know how to go about it.
That's above my pay grade. Well, that's actually interesting. Like, were there not any breakfast pizzas at the time?
No.
Wow.
You can get like frozen ones at the like supermarkets sometimes, like the little mini ones they had, but like nothing.
I don't
like
even think they did that in 2009 when I was working there, 2010. I don't know if the breakfast pizzas even were a thing yet. It could have been.
Yes.
I'm not saying I invented it.
Oh, no, I've been eating them since I was a kid.
There you go. She wins.
Red Baron does them.
But yeah, I would go and I would just make like a pan pizza, and I would just take eggs, crack them, scramble them, throw them in there, cook it. It was delicious.
Yeah.
I fed Paul lots of pizza while I lived with him, but he would argue that it wasn't pizza because I like fancy things.
Right.
Like-
and pepperoni kind of guy.
Yeah. I came home with like a stuffed like chicken Alfredo pizza, and he's like, "This isn't pizza. Are you
This is an
bringing home
abomination."
pizza?" He really was. He was so mad. I didn't expect it. It was a spaghetti stuffed pizza.
No.
Yeah, so like we made the spaghetti, and then like we had a pan pizza at Rosati's, and we put the pasta inside, and we put like the dough on top of it, crimped it all up, then made like an actual pizza like you would, baked it, and then I brought it home, and I was like, yeah, like it's like a pan pizza like this thick with like spaghetti in the bottom and like pizza on the top, and he was just like, this is a fucking abomination. He's like, don't you fucking call this pizza. Him and his mentor Patrick were there. Patrick was the other guy who worked at Club Red. It was like
Yes.
the main top dude that Paul learned under and learned a lot from.
Patrick Driscoll.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've been talking about him a little bit.
Great dude. Amazing dude.
The name sounds so familiar too. It's like I'm surprised I haven't heard of him by now, you know? Outside of session, that is.
I mean, I think the craziest thing that Patrick ever did that at least he confided and talked to us about was he was front of house for Exhibit on a tour.
Okay.
And that's when we made the shocking discovery that me and my homies smoke weed like professional rappers. Because Patrick told us a story of I think it was Exhibit or someone on the tour came out and they had like a jar like this full of weed and like slammed it on the table. I was just like, I need to know you can hang. And then they smoked the whole jar. And then like he looked at like him afterwards and was just like, just so you know, this jar will never be empty from now on out, now that I know that you can hang. And I looked at Paul and I was like, Paul, you smoke as much as Patrick. Does that mean you smoke as much weed as like Exhibit? And he's just like,
he's like, I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, that was when we all kind of smoked a lot of weed, including Shobe, a lot. But that was like one of the funniest stories I ever heard, was pretty much being like, oh, my shitty metalhead friends can smoke as much weed as like can just hang with like a professional rapper passing a blunt. Cool.
Yeah.
That's fucking wild. I lived with Paul 2 separate times, and the first time was at Terrace. We got bed bugs. Shit went crazy. My father passed away. A lot of like personal family stuff happened. I left Phoenix. I moved back to Havasu, and then Paul kind of went out on his own. I don't really know what happened from then. I know he stayed in Phoenix, and then I know that over time talking to him, he was going to MCC and all this other stuff. And then I moved back like 2 years later, and he had just gotten this apartment with this one dude. I forget who that dude was. I don't know if he worked with you or something, but then he like stole money out of like your dresser drawer or something, and you're like, fuck that dude, he's not my roommate anymore. And I was just like, well, I need a place to live. And we lived together after that. That was November or December of 2012. It was something like that, because I moved there September 2012 to go to ITT Tech. Yeah.
Yeah, that was Villa Tree.
Yeah, that was Villa Tree, which was honestly a much nicer, huge upgrade for us from where we were living previously. We both had a bedroom. There was, we had a small TV until I bought a big screen TV. And the reason why we bought a big screen TV is because I got a tax return, and I was with Paul at Best Buy, and Paul was just like, Derek, what about this one? You could play Halo on this one. He just kept on being like, now picture this. I'm just like, Paul, I don't need that big of a TV. He's just like, hold on, hear me out.
He still does that. He still does
that.
He's like, I know what you're saying.
That's funny. I love
but
that.
Hear me out.
Picture this. Hear me out.
When you
I love having a friend like that.
I still have that TV. It's right there. It's
oh shit. Yo,
yeah.
Cameo?
Yeah,
Let's see this shit.
It's a 55-inch TV.
Damn.
Had it for years.
Love
And
this
it still
cow.
works, so it's crazy.
Sweet. Yeah, got that Best Buy quality.
Yeah, it's an Insignia or Insignia. Oh yeah, that's the funny story about it. Let me get this in. Come on, autofocus. I'm just blurry. This is how life happens. All right,
You're
follow the hands.
camouflaging with the wall, Derek.
Follow the hands.
Careful.
There we go.
There you
All right. God, I just had to make the best face as it like focused in. I'm like,
That'll be
at
your
work.
thumbnail face.
I'm at work one day, and I get a phone call from a panicked Paul. The TV's not working. What do you mean the TV's not working? I don't know. Did you fucking break my TV? I don't know. It's just not working. So I buy warranty for everything that you buy forever, always. It doesn't matter. People are like, it's a scam. No. We took it back, and I was like, I have a warranty on this. And they're like, well, we don't have it here, but it's in Chandler. And I'm just like, Paul, we're driving to Chandler. So we go down there from the Tempe Marketplace, Best Buy. They gave us the TV. We came home. We plugged it back in. We set it back up. And then that's the TV that I've had now since then.
Nice.
But
Nice.
somehow he accidentally or it malfunctioned or something. I never got any story or clear case on that. I was like, what happened? Were you watching something and it just died? And he was like, basically. I'm like, okay.
What did you Paul?
Do nothing.
Paul said otherwise.
You didn't do nothing, Paul?
No, I didn't do nothing.
He didn't.
okay.
He didn't smack it with his fist or anything after a sweaty game of Halo. Dude, speaking of Halo, I can never forget my buddy. This is like completely unrelated, but like you mentioned Halo, and he was like, "Picture this, like really good big screen for split screen Halo." My fucking buddy, shout out to Josh. He's my brother. He managed to like 360 no scope me in midair while I was like flying through the air on that one like 2-ramp map with one of the snipers. He just like spun around, just got me out of the air. I'm like, what the fuck? And we're like having to sneak this. We're having to like be quiet because it's like midnight. His parents are asleep, and naturally he's not even supposed to have the volume on for Halo in the first place.
Yeah.
But he's just like, we're just like we're trying not to actually scream, but just enjoying the moment.
So on that Xbox, on that TV, the main things we did were he loved Doom.
Mm-hmm.
Paulie loved Doom. So he played all of Doom 1, all of Doom 2, all of like a special edition, anything that he could find. Paul likes video games a lot. He likes different types of games than I do, but he does love video games. And the only other stuff we watched was, I don't think we had cable. Like, why would you have cable? The internet existed.
Yeah.
But we didn't have a way really to hook up like a computer. Like, I think once I had my laptop that I got for school, I HDMI'd it to the TV, and then we just watched like anime or like whatever we wanted to.
Lit.
But we mainly just watched like DVDs of whatever Paul had, and Paul had an extensive collection of like a bunch of shit that I was like, I had no idea where he even got it from. But he showed me Weeds, which is Who Can Nancy Fuck to Get Out of This Problem, the TV show.
That's the only one that looks good in there.
And then Breaking Bad. But I don't know how far we got in it, but man's watched a lot of stuff. He would sit in the living room, watch stuff, but we cooked a lot. Our favorite place to go to was Safeway.
Nice.
We'd buy, I think it was like, were they $1? It was like the little chicken, like they were like breaded chicken things that you cook in an oven, and they were stuffed. We'd get like the cordon bleu one or the chicken broccoli one.
Ooh.
And yeah.
Yeah.
Which one was your favorite?
Cordon bleu, of course.
Shit was slapping, dude. So we'd get those. We'd like cook that. We'd get those like instant mashed potatoes. And Paul's life hack was you make real mashed potatoes, but you like make instant. And you like blend them. You mash them together to like make them like even better.
Yeah.
He would also just make baked potatoes in the microwave. That was a thing that Paul did.
Nice.
But Paul, I don't know if he talked about it at all, worked in fine dining for quite some time.
Yes,
Paul
he
is a
mentioned that.
very, very big into cooking, food, and all that. I mean, show was show, you know. But yeah. There was a restaurant you said you worked at, Paul, where people would fly in from France, eat lunch, and then go home.
Yeah, it was Mary Elaine's.
Where was that at?
That was at the Phoenician.
Ah.
It was a 5-star restaurant.
Yeah. I had the same fucking reaction. He was telling me this, and I'm like, you worked there?
I mean, honestly, yeah, you don't. That's kind of like one of those good old plot twists. It's just an authentic plot twist that you don't hear that often from a metalhead. You know, that's fucking sick. It's just like, yeah, I worked at this fancy 5-star restaurant where people flew in to eat food and flew out. Like, fuck, Taylor Swift could have been there at some point with their fucking private jet. It's like she probably crash landed into the Super Bowl.
She landed on the fucking building.
Yeah. I have to look this up now. Okay, so you said it was like Mary Ann's,
Mary Elaine's.
Mary Elaine's.
Mary Elaine's. Okay, Mary Elaine's Eatery and Bar. Wait, that's in New Zealand. Okay.
They relocated. No.
I know, like this was 17 years ago.
2006,
That's fair.
2007. When were you?
I was
working
only
there?
6 years old, man. I was, god damn, bro.
What year were you doing that, Paul?
2007, 2000 till too late, 2008.
I was still a baby. I was definitely not bearded at that time. I was like Google Gaga, bro.
In 2008, I was 20 and listening to technical brutal death metal and crowd killing people at shows, because those two things go together.
Yep, those two things definitely go together. That's, man.
I was a metal elitist who crowd killed. It was I think one of the funniest stories I have about Paul is one day he came home from work and I wasn't there, but I'd left music playing in my room or whatever. And he said that he walked around the apartment not understanding why there was like something wrong. And then he said he found Lady Gaga playing in my room. And you want to call
Lady Gaga and what?
Yeah. What happened there?
Oh my god, that's funny.
You want to talk about that story?
You want to elaborate on that?
Provide your perspective on it.
Yeah, Lady Gaga is just wrong.
I love Lady Gaga, but I love everything. And Paul was one of the first people, I think, to really witness that on a full scale, because he lived with me.
Yeah.
And he was just borderline shocked. I'm pretty sure the exact words were like, "You're a fucking like a death metal guitarist. What the fuck are you listening to this for?" And I was like, I like it.
What can I say?
But I was elitist about like other things, but I wasn't about pop music. I was like, great.
I mean, for me, I think like, because I'm 24, it's about the same time, right? It's about the same time frame as when you guys were in that apartment together. I really only gatekeep like Drake and Beyonce and
Billetry. We were about like, I was about your age, yeah.
Right. That's fair. When it comes to gatekeeping music, man, I try not to do it too often, but there are definitely artists that I'm like, fuck these people because of the people behind the music. And for me, so far, it's been like Beyonce, Drake. Now it's Taylor Swift, but really, I mean, she just got bought by George Soros. So like, she didn't really do anything, but now her music is going to be drastically more like Midsummer-esque for whatever reason. Just not
I was really
Swedish.
looking forward to her new album that dropped in 7 days.
Definitely gonna have to give it a listen if it's bought by George Soros, bro. Like that's some Vanguard Blackwater shit right there. But no, like I try not to gatekeep too often. So I'm like, definitely leaning more into country now. I never thought that would be a thing, really. But the thing is, it's not the country that most people would think. It's stuff like Coulter Wall. It's stuff like Molly Avalon, or even Laurel Hell's Rebellion, or something like that. Just like really, really grimy, dark, spooky, like bluegrass from the Appalachians. And then, a sprinkle
Where's
of
Tristan when you need him?
Where's Tristan? Yeah, exactly. Is he a country guy then?
He said he likes bluegrass.
Oh,
Remember?
right.
He was like, bluegrass is the thrash of country. It's like,
I don't really remember.
I was like, I remember when I was in my 20s.
Good shit, for sure.
Shout out Tristan.
Shout out Tristan. We love you, buddy.
Yeah.
I wonder if Pops is actually available to jump into session. Do you know if Brandon's available right now?
Slammed on? He could be. You could try listening. Reading. Yeah.
Yeah.
I give him all of his stupid names, because I was like, oh, Brandon,
yeah,
Slamden, and then like our homie Drake just started calling him the Don, and then Donald, and I'm like, goes from Brandon to Donald, and then it's just like that's the way. That was the pipeline. Hilarious.
Water?
Yeah.
We lived together 2 different occasions. It was funny because I was relatively sober when I first lived with Paul. Oh, did we lose Sean entirely?
Oh yeah, looks like we lost him.
I don't know. He's frozen. He'll be back. Maybe when he clicked out, it like closed everything. I don't know. Maybe look at Messenger and see if he's got a. Nope.
I'm back.
Nope. He's back.
I'm back. Somehow I'm back. I was like, no.
He was frozen.
I was frozen.
But yeah, Paul got me super drunk one time, and
Okay.
oh god, and I played guitar, and it didn't. I was like crawling on the ground, like to my bedroom, and I got a guitar and like was laying on the floor, like room it spinning, and I'm like playing, and I was like, I don't know why, but I can play just fine, but like drunk. And he was just like, the fuck?
You're a fucking idiot.
But I can't play stoned at all. Derek high with a guitar turns into, bro, you gotta like hear this riff. Bow, 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 now, now, bow. Fucking hear that? Like,
do you hear that, dude?
Like, you fucking
I know
feel that?
in my skull, dude.
Dude, what was it? 420. It was 420. The first year we lived together, so it would have been 420 in 2010, and we played Chiba Hut for like a 420 event. It was after the death of man, but we did it like our acoustic style, and we had a homie like fill in to like do drums. It was like jazz almost.
Whoa,
it was really weird.
That sounds like so much fun.
It was. And then we got back to the apartment, and then they like were like, here buddy, like smoke this, and like it was a bong that was like this tall or something.
Yeah.
And I hit it till it was like literally completely milked, and then I pulled out, cleared it, and then I think I stared at a door or wall for like 4 hours laughing.
Gotta love that.
They were like, yeah, Derek doesn't smoke a lot. We got him way too high. But I mean, there is reason for that. I'm on, mental health medication. So anytime you stack anything on top of something you're already taking,
yeah,
the effects are always higher, stronger, whatever. Or you can just call me a pussy, one of the two.
I mean, bro, at least you don't hallucinate after taking 2 bong hits and like have the devil laughing at you in the background. That happened to me.
Do I?
Yeah, but the thing is,
I don't know.
Yeah, the thing is, I'm pretty sure it was also laced with something. We just never figured out what. Yeah, so like it was either acid or meth. I'm like, dude, what the fuck? I was only like fucking maybe 17 or 18 at the time, if then. And this kid was like, this is gonna fuck you up. I'm like,
yeah.
Okay. So I take 2 bong hits and like literally sounds like the Cuphead devil just like, and we're outside, but there's no one there. And
Yeah.
she's like, I'm like,
was
who's
fun.
laughing, dude? They're like, yo, there's no one laughing at you. I'm like, oh, fuck. Like, I distinctly remember just not exactly panicking, but being on the verge of panicking. Like, I gotta go home, bro.
So when we did the Invirulent first podcast, I like tried to speed run through like my whole life. But when I lived in California, at age 15, I went straight edge or whatever till I was about 20. So, you know, it didn't even count or matter because I didn't make it to 21. But before that, I did quite a few bit of drugs, you know, renegade child, teenager. So you say meth, and I'm just like, oh, fuck, I'm having flashbacks.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
Well, what's the worst thing you've taken? Is it meth or what?
Probably. I mean, I snorted heroin once on accident. We'll say accident because homie was like, here, do a line. And I was like, I thought it was coke. And then when he said it was heroin, and then I proceeded to beat the fuck out of him. I was 14 years old. Like,
Sorry.
picture a little 14-year-old just like smoking meth.
Dude,
it's not right.
Fuck?
California's fucked, dude. California's really fucked. That or I'm just was raised by terribly. What up, baby?
Oh, he's asking me to adjust him a little bit.
Oh, okay. Right. That's insane. I'm just so glad that the worst thing that's happened to me is that lace trip. Like, oh, here he comes. Here comes Pops.
Slammed on.
Yeah.
Hey.
You are live, Pops.
Hey, boys.
Buddy.
Hey, what's good? What's good?
Host has turned off everyone's video. Hold on. I get my sound back.
I swear to God, I didn't.
We can hear you just fine, Shob. So
yeah.
Oh, it's the trio again.
It's the trio.
The three of us.
The three of us. Well, that's a perspective thing. It could be the three of us from the Invirulent session, or it could be the three homies from back in the day.
Just my connection to Phoenix goes in two different parallels, two different ways, and he's gone. One of them was I moved to Phoenix and I met Brandon. Through Brandon, I met Paul, and Paul, I met like all these other people. The other one is I already knew people from Knights of the Abyss, right? And so I met like all these other people through them. So it's just like weird combination of like eventually them like all twining. Where I have friends from like Knights and shit that love Paul, and I have, you know, friends from Paul that, it's just everyone knows everyone in the Phoenix scene now.
Pops.
I wanted to go back and talk about I totally forgot about our acoustic set at Chiba Hut.
Yeah, we were just talking about
we just told him about that.
Yeah, that was fun.
How I got like so high, I was just in my apartment, just stared at a wall for like 3 to 4 hours, just after I milked that bong.
That sounds about right.
Yeah, I was just fucking gone, dude.
That sounds about right.
Yeah, well, straight edge.
Tell your side of that story, Pops.
Well, I've been watching and sitting here laughing and chuckling along, and then you guys are like, "Hey," and so I checked my DMs. They're like, "Hey, there it is." So
yeah, fair enough.
Man's name is Invirulent Slamdemic. All right.
Is it? Oh,
that's what. Shit. Yeah.
Sorry. Whoops.
Oh, whoopsie.
But yeah, we're just, you know, obviously I'm learning a lot more about how you guys' stories intertwine and shit. Ooh, that's a cool Oscillature hat. That's sick.
It's actually Iron City Rifle. It just has a Valk nut on it.
Oh, right, the Valk nut. That's right. That's like the specific.
Yeah, this is a company, shout out Iron City, based out here in Tempe, that makes really, really nice AR platforms.
Ooh, okay. I heard. I'll definitely be looking into that soon. I need to get one soon.
The shitty Craigslist post led me to Brandon. Brandon led me to Paul.
and Paul started it all with a "fuck you, Derek."
Yeah. No, it's been really interesting to learn about all that. And just like, you know, obviously the more people we have in here, the more faces people can see. I think the only one left now is not Paul Benson here, but what is his name? Hold on.
Flynn?
It's Paul Sokol.
Oh, yes.
Winterfest.
Yeah, I love Sokol.
I think that's the only person I have yet to invite into this stream, but I think I'm going to do that too.
Yeah. So, Paul and Paul worked very, very closely together at they called it Appalling Events. They started being promoters, and God, I love both those dudes so much. But yeah, Paul started as an intern at Club Red when I met him, and then he worked his way up, and eventually it was like just straight front of house, and he was like production manager. Patrick left, went over to ASU.
Dude,
Paul was running the show.
You can't gloss over it like that. Not just worked. He was like, "Hey, I really want to do this," and like, "Yeah, that's nice, kid." He's like, "No, I really want to do this. I'll do this for free. I'll show up every day and do it." And he did. Every day.
Patrick deciding to let you intern. Like, exactly what happened.
That's fair. Yeah, it's a good story.
He knows much more than I do because that's before me. I just met him as he was interning.
Basically,
here comes Paul.
Basically, when I started, talking and whatnot with Patrick, basically he told me he didn't want me to intern because I wasn't in any audio engineering programs yet. But he asked me a few questions, and he's like, "All right, if this dude wants to do it for free, like I'll give him a shot."
Well, first he had to go talk to his wife. Patrick did, and his wife was like, "Well, like, do you like him? Like, it's your rule that you made. You can break your rule if you want to." And so his wife was like, "Yeah." Well, his ex-wife, sorry, but was like, "Yeah, you should let him do it if you want to." And so Patrick came back to Paul and was like, "Okay,
yeah,
you can do it for free."
And now we have Paul coming in as well. Paul Sokol, can you hear us?
What's going on, homies? I can't.
What's
Can you
going
hear me?
on?
I love you, Sokol.
What
Hey,
up,
homie.
D-Rock?
Welcome to chat.
Obviously, it's brand new face, right? Good to have you on what is one of the first anatomy podcast live streams and stuff. Obviously, you know what's going on. You know what we're trying to do today. And I mean, Derek was even briefly mentioning it just now. We can go ahead and, if you want to, kind of talk about you and Paul's background as well.
Yeah, I want to hear how you guys met, to be honest.
Yeah.
Man, this is a fun origin story. So way back in the day, towards the end of 2014, I had this vision of creating.
Says that way back. I love you.
Yeah, right. Creating this nonprofit called Keep Children Rockin', where we provide music equipment repairs and donations to youth music programs. And I'm from Florida. I moved here, to Arizona around the beginning of 2012, and so I don't know nobody here, and so I just had this idea of like, let's do this heavy metal festival for charity. And so I went to the Lago release show at Tempe Tavern, and that was the very first show that I hit like on the scene, like with any kind of agenda. I think I'd been to like one show at like the Goat's Head Saloon before that, and I didn't know nobody, and I was just armed with a dream and like, hey, I'm gonna talk to people, see what they're doing. And Unholy Monarch, which Benson was vocalist for forever, they were performing, and not only was he interested in it, he wanted to be a part of it. He was involved with Club Red, and he had done Budget Fest a year or two before that, which was feel free to correct me, Benson, if this isn't right, but it was like a show you did in January because there weren't a lot of tours in January, and so you just wanted to throw a rad show that's just on budget, just to have a show. And so we decided to kind of combine efforts, and that's how we met. I just had an idea. Oh, I did go to the old Club Red before it moved, the one that was behind the Waffle House. I remember seeing Behemoth there, and Splatterkill were locals at the time, and I fucking loved those guys. They were real cool.
Ooh, okay. That's brand new information to me. I didn't know that the current, shut down, but the current location for Club Red is not the original.
No. It was on University and 101.
Whoa!
Yeah. Behind that Waffle House. It's now like something else, and then some like other restaurant or something. But it was
it was still two stages. So it was the 2-stage bars, Red Owl and Club Red.
Yes.
And it was a sweet spot. And I think the reason, and Paul can go into this more, I think the reason why they moved it literally like tripled the space. It's huge. The new Club Red was, I mean, the old Club Red could fit inside one half of the new Club Red.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
So why did you guys
So-
move from the old location to the new location?
So part of the reason we had to move from our old location is the original owner, Kim Commons, was getting divorced. And so he had to liquidate his assets. And one of the assets he had was the building that Club Red lived in.
So you had to sell it.
So he had to sell the property. And in order to maintain like what we needed out of a venue, we went to the newer location. And when we were in there to begin with, the first thing we saw was a bunch of bird shit and movie theater.
Yeah, it used to be a movie theater.
Oh shit. Okay, that's cool.
Yeah,
That's
so
actually really cool. Same way that the Now Theater was like one of the first theaters in, in Phoenix, in Mesa. Like the new location for Club Red used to be a theater as well. That's really cool, actually.
yeah, we dug out all the dirt so that we could level everything out. We built the stage areas and everything like that. And like really pushed it.
Who
That
did
was
all
the
this?
best.
Yeah,
Go on.
incredible.
That was like one of the best venues in town. The best
Seriously.
sound. Yeah, it was.
They didn't gouge you on drinks.
Yeah, they were fair to the artists. Everyone was like super respectful. They didn't really have too many shithead security guys. They just had guys
Yeah,
who
I was
like
gonna say the
actually
staff
knew what the
weren't
fuck they were
dicks.
supposed to do.
Right. Yeah. I mean, so far with my experience here in the Phoenix Valley, in the Phoenix Metro Valley, for EQ, for sound quality, Van Buren, for room, Marquee, for culture, consistency, and just like availability, Now Theater, Now Underground. Those are kind of the venues for me. But I've been to Pub Rock now. I've been to Rebel Lounge. I mean, fuck. I think I went to I saw Cane Hill high, pretty fucking high at Rebel Lounge, and that was fun because we almost ended up smoking with them, the people that I went with. Just so casually, just like, yeah, you want to smoke? They're like, hey, sure. And they're like, no, we actually got to go. I'm like, oh, okay, bye guys. Like we left or whatever.
Oh, we smoked with Intronaut at that one place in Scottsdale. What was it called?
The Rogue or the Rebel?
The Rogue.
No, Rogue.
Rogue.
Yeah,
I missed the Rogue.
you hung out with the dudes of Intronaut in their van, smoked weed with them.
Yeah.
If I remember, we got added to a show like last minute, and yeah, it was pretty wild.
So you said we. So what project was this for? Like, what
After the
project?
Death of Man,
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
band that was ever.
At Dom is our baby between the three of us here.
Oh yeah, me and Paul would like make like a really solid layer of like music. Shob would come in and do just disgusting
Dope
vocals that
things.
no one had ever heard before, as far as I was concerned. The only people I'd ever heard do it before was like Travis Ryan, and I was just like, it goes Travis Ryan and Shob. Like I don't know who the fuck can do these vocals. It's insane. And he had really cool lyrics, and it was just really cool to paint a picture that he could like color in.
So
But
our first show was with
Pathology, Destroyer 666, and
Ooh.
Enthroned.
Was it? I thought it was with shoot, what was their name? Cave Dweller before Cave Dweller. It was something the Stars.
Tomorrow the
played up-
Stars.
Tomorrow the Stars.
No, that was way later.
I thought we played up in that. It was like a little strip club bar.
That happened way later. Our very
Okay.
first show was Kim being like, I need someone for an opener, and either you or Paul were in connection with her. And I got a phone call as I'm getting off work, like, hey, do you want to play Club Red opening up for, blah, 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 this day? And I was like, yeah.
That's
Like,
so
why
crazy. And we're
why
playing
have we not already
Pathology
said
again
yes?
this month.
Yeah, we're playing
Right.
8th Bird.
Yeah.
But yeah, I remember because it was right after Pathology got signed to Victory, and I was talking to the guitarist. I'm like, hey, so like, because I'm a brutal death metal elitist guy, whatever. I was just like, hey, so like, what's it like being on Victory? And he was like, they pay the bills, like just super nonchalantly and just like, fucking just almost like he was tired of the question because like elitists were just like on their ass for like a brutal death metal band being signed to like basically a hardcore label.
Gotcha.
But I was just, hey, are they taking good care of you? And he was like, yeah. And just like, he was just
like, love the enthusiasm, friend.
He was like, he's like, I'm fucking tired of people asking me this, is what it felt like. And I was just like, all right.
Man, Pathology, that's really wild, because I remember Appalling Events pulled Pathology into the new Club Red location one time, and that show was lit as fuck.
I heard about that.
Yeah, that was probably one of the like top shows we ever did as Appalling Events, and I was super excited because I'm not from here. I don't really know what's going on a whole lot, and so it's really cool to hear that like y'all played with Pathology back in the day, which then we did, as Appalling Events after the fact, and then as you just mentioned, Show, y'all are playing with them again.
I'll be going to that show. I'm super
excited. That show. That's gonna be a good show.
Yeah.
We have tickets available on our Bandcamp. Please, God, buy them.
Go purchase them!
Yeah, dude. Every single Pathology CD that they were selling when they came to Club Red, like they had like 4 or 5. I'm pretty sure I bought their whole discography. Like, just give me everything.
Just give me it all. Give me it all.
Their first,
seeing the stocks.
Their first 2 albums were like my favorite, and then the first on, then the 3 that I liked on Victory were I think Legacy of the Ancients, Awaken to the Suffering, and then the one after that.
I had that shirt, but the dang back print was so hot and uncomfortable to wear.
Oh, damn! What, Sean over there just flexing? What's up, dude?
Yeah, dude.
Saw it.
No, continue, gentlemen. Continue. I'm so used to sitting for like 10 hours a day, so I need to get off my ass every now and then and just like start moving around, get schmoovy with it. But
oh yeah,
of course, Paul Sokol. We had you randomly enter the stream not too long ago. Tell us a little bit about yourself. Like, what do you do recently that kind of makes you stick out like a thumb with a fucking splinter in it in the best of ways? Love you.
Well, I mentioned Keep Children Rockin' earlier, and so we're doing it, man. We're going into our 10th year as the Dead of Winterfest and Keep Children Rockin'. In fact, this week, it was either this week or last week, I bought 2 guitars for an elementary school out here in Chandler that needed it. We just got photos back from the first donation of the year where they needed it's like a kindergarten music class, so they bought like music scarves and like little handbells. And we got a real energetic photo of that. And by day, I run an automation and advertising agency. So I'm like Mr. Business Homie over here.
Yeah.
And so I love being able to take those skills and apply it to the music scene. Because I'm a diehard metalhead myself. In fact, just today, I broke the news that I'm going to be drumming for Shadows of Alcohol down in Tucson, which is exciting because I love drumming. And I miss being on stage and doing the doogity-daggity. So
yeah, what was the name of your black metal band?
Elevagar.
Elevagar.
And our debut show was at the Rogue, which we were talking about earlier, and that was cool. And so Elevagar opened for Infinite Death, and then we had Infinite Death play a Dead of Winterfest, I think 2 years in a row. They came out from California, and that was super rad. And I'm just grateful as hell that I get to be a part of this.
I am curious. So you met Benson at that Lago show. I was probably there. If Unholy Monarch was playing, I was probably sitting in front of them because that's what I did. It was funny. But how did Kalinsky get involved? How did Griffin get involved in all that with you two?
Benson, you would know the answer to that.
Paul, how did Griffin get involved?
Griffin got involved when we were talking with somebody about doing like Budget Fest and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when Griffin and I started Budget Fest. Budget Fest was actually like the whole concept was for everybody to try and make as much money as they could at the start of the year, so that fiscally speaking, as a band, you would start off your beginning of your year hopefully on like a higher note. And the reason we did it in January also is because there wasn't a lot of shows in January. So it was slim pickings, and we could get the venue for a decent rate.
Okay.
Always thinking. Always thinking.
Oh yeah.
So I definitely got to say this. Shobe and Benson were like the two people at Dom that were like the business-minded people. So it's great hearing that Sokol and Benson, because they're both business-minded people, became, friends and talking about stuff. I'm just the idiot with ideas.
Well, the creative mind is always important, or even more important when you're trying to turn creative into business, right? It ends up becoming more important that you have authentic ideas as opposed to maybe like think of most of Disney's IPs these days and how they're very, very politically driven. They are very marketable. It's like, hey, if it ain't going to work, we might as well not do it. But I guess I can't really say that because they've been making a whole bunch of movies recently that fucking flopped, right?
Paul
But
also had a very strong eye for like just marketing and other stuff.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, exactly.
His idea was everyone needs matches. So
Yeah,
they literally put
matches
Unholy Monarch logo on books and matches and gave them out at shows. And I was like, you son of a bitch.
I think the cups was genius.
The cups, I have one. It's
selling
somewhere.
cups at the bar, commemorative cups. You pay an extra $1 or $2. The band gets $1, and you get a free cup.
Mm-hmm.
That sounds pretty cool.
The coolest stuff that he ever recommended, but we never like implemented, was it was like a lampshade that would have like the logo cut out like on like one side, and when you turned it on, your logo would be blasted on like the wall.
Like the bat logo.
Yeah.
That's
I was just like, Vincent, you fucking genius.
I mean,
Right now, Paul's like, you just gave away my $1 million idea. I'm going to kill you.
All right. Well, talking about genius and merch stuff, like this is the first year we were able to have stuff for Keep Children Rockin'. Like we wanted, because people would usually just donate at shows and like that was it. So we wanted to actually have merch this year. And so Benson was like, whatever we got to do, it's got to be something people are going to like use all the time and like have with them, know?
Yeah.
So that's why we did things like we did tote bags, we did like dish towels, we did like pop sockets on the back of phones kind of things, wristbands, like just stuff that people are going to use out and about in the world, and it's a great conversation starter. And that's thinking outside the box, because I'm like, oh, let's do shirts and like normal crap, and he's like, no, we gotta do something that's actually going to get it out there that people are going to use all the time.
That's sick. It's always, and that's why, like, as far as continued education, because me and Mr. Benson were talking about that earlier. Like, I was even talking with a lady over the phone today about getting into audio engineering and sound engineering at CRAS, which is a audio engineering school, radio school, all types of shit.
Conservatory Recording Arts and Sciences.
Yeah. So most likely, Derek, I'll be going to that here pretty soon.
Oh,
nice.
Yes.
Paul, Benson, were you for that? I know that in the day you were like, just go to MCC. CRAS is overrated.
I would just go to MCC.
Fair enough.
For the cost, right? It's like
not just the cost, but all the people who went to CRAS previously who were teaching there all went to Mesa Community College.
Heard. Okay. I'll keep that in mind for sure, because I only like recently filled out my FAFSA as opposed to filling it out during high school and while I was preparing to graduate.
We're not trying to talk shit about CRAS or anything, but I have heard that whether or not you actually perform, they push you through the school.
Yeah.
So I've heard things like that. And Paul went to MCC and he learned a lot there. I think, what was it, Paul? You said there was people there, and this one dude's like, I make beats.
Yeah.
Because he was talking about audio engineering, and there was just a guy who was just saying that, and Paul told me about it, and I was laughing because we both thought it was funny. But he might have gone on to make some dope shit. But at the time, it was just really funny.
Yeah. No, I make beats. You just like
Oh,
has
no.
Beats
Oh,
brand.
my favorite story from Paul. He came home from work one day and he was like, Derek, there's a rapper on stage who, for I swear to God, for like 15 minutes was just like, I make that pussy wet. 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 And I was just like, what the fuck? And he's like, I can guarantee you, Derek, there was not a wet pussy in that. I was just like, dude, what the fuck happens at like Red Owl?
Cold-blooded, man.
The food would do that. I'm gonna tell you, that food truck towards the end, that was some magic right there.
Oh yeah, Red Owl
That was one
Burgers
of my
and Brews.
favorite parts. Go to a show and get dinner.
Yeah.
Oh my
Yeah.
God. I was like, what is Red Owls? What is Red Owls? That was like the restaurant right next to it, was it not? Oh
Yeah.
my
Yes.
God, dude. Oh my God.
They
I
kept the
remember
brand.
that.
Oh, it was a restaurant before? I didn't know that.
No. It was
No, they
originally
kept the Red Owl brand.
they kept the brand.
Okay.
There was the Red Owl and then Club Red. Red Owl
Yeah.
was like a really small room. I watched Rings of Saturn play there to like 5 people. It was quite funny. And then there was the big room, which we call the big room, but you know. But yeah, so they kept Red Owl brand when they did the food truck.
Yeah.
Originally, Paul wanted to, and for years this has been his like thing. He wanted to open up a restaurant called Food Sounds Good, and like have it be like attached to a venue.
That is like actually so genius. And the thing
I
is,
don't know how to tell you how fucking smart Paul is.
yeah,
Like,
like I remember going to Club Red the many times that I did before I had a job, and I'm like, man, this burger, like these burgers smell really good right now. These nachos sound like pretty bomb right now.
again,
And then
Paul worked in fine dining. He served high quality food at his food truck.
Yeah. No, I remember buying a burger because it was actually the posters on the inner workings of my wall in here.
Yeah.
I can actually 1 second.
Like I could spin this. Oh, you can just grab the poster. All right.
No. I'm gonna fix the perspective of the camera. This is live or whatever. So
Oh man,
yeah,
There you go.
Enterprise Earth,
yeah.
Lona Shore, Body
Body
Snatcher.
Snatcher and Within Destruction. So I went to that tour, right? I went to that show.
Yeah.
And I was like feeling really famished. I was feeling really hungry. So what I ended up doing was I ended up grabbing one of their burgers. And bro, I learned the hard way. You cannot eat a burger and then expect to jump right into a mosh pit right after that. Wait a minute, bro. Wait a minute. I can't go in there right now, dude. I gotta wait a little bit. And then I kid you not, I stopped. I hesitated. I was like, nah, dude, I just had a burger. I feel fucking bloated right now. I can't go in there. Literally a sea of death, and my buddy who goes in there just disappears into a wave of people as they're like death walling in that tiny ass room, bro. He came out, he's bleeding from his nose and shit. He got like knocked in the fucking head. It was so funny.
Hell
But
yeah,
Such
that's
a
a
good
show. That's a show.
That's a show. Exactly. I have never
It's a
ever,
story,
ever,
right?
Yeah.
That's it's better to get fucking black eye and a broken like
It's
nose
an
at a show
experience.
than
It's an
to
That's what
forget
you go
something.
live
You're,
for. We can listen to the music on our own and with our headphones all day long. We go for the experience.
yes.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And a part of the experience is the connection.
The people that you end up meeting, the bands that you end up meeting, because they're not too fucking elitist to actually talk to you, or they don't have security who's like, hey, back away. You can't talk to Kyle right now. Get the fuck out of here. Like, you know,
I'm
whatever.
gonna put out to a show. People are gonna come up and be like, whoa, who do you think you're talking to? I'm like,
Hey,
aren't you the
hey,
guitarist?
Hey.
Hey,
You
aren't
got
you
an
the
appointment?
aren't you the guitarist? Hey.
Get the fuck out of here. Get the fuck out of here. I can definitely tell you that with Pub Rock. I think it was either Pub Rock or Rebel Lounge. I forget which one has like the stage at the front. It's a pretty thin alleyway, and then there's the bar right here in the back. I think that's
That's Rebel Lounge.
It's Pub Rock.
yeah, I'm
Oh,
pretty
is it?
sure that's Rebel Lounge. So the security there was really nice because like of Sulfur, they came through for their first leg of shows. They forgot most of their music. They did an encore for their title track. I sung with them, and the security was not an issue at all. I ended up giving like this big old just Like, I gave them a big old hug because he just let me up there and shit to sing with them. And they're like, man, we had some pretty good extra singing up here. I'm like, yeah. But, you know,
Fucking
that's
Ricky Hoover,
again,
man.
it's
I've been
an
a fan of that
experience.
dude since Suffocate.
Are you gonna sing? Try and grab the mic. I love that shit, dude.
I'm gonna kill it.
I'll get a
Yeah.
ski mask and everything, just like, I'm like,
Do it.
I'm a nerd for heavy metal and the history of it, and I've heard you guys talk about After the Death of Man. Obviously, I wasn't around here for it, and I'm gonna throw it into the Google chat. This meme. There's you guys actually have a band listing on, like, it looks like
Hey,
Spirit
that.
of Metal.
really grainy old photos, but like knowing who's in it, like it's like, oh no, that's not so.
How do I get to the chat? Oh, there it is.
Oh yeah, there it is.
Yeah,
Look at that.
pretty cool.
Oh man, yeah, there's me and Paul.
yeah,
It's all in Russian too.
yeah.
Dueling guitars.
That's how throwback it is. So like, I know the whole lineup. Who's Joe Dashi?
Joe Dashi was our native drummer.
Okay.
And, so it's pronounced Dashi. I believe we met him when he was like 8, just before he turned 18, or right when he turned 18.
Yeah, right when he turned 18.
But he got all of his tribe money and just spent it all on like drums and like shit like that.
Nice.
Because he was part of the Pima tribe. I don't know. It's the one off Scottsdale that has that the casino over there.
I'll go ahead and get this pulled up, boys. Let's see. Yeah, we got.
Yeah, look at that. That's some social proof right there.
Yeah.
There we
So
go.
there goes Shob, me.
It's all
Paul.
in Russian too. Sick.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we're signed to a Russian label now. Oh wow, they have
Wow.
other photos of us live. What the
Yeah,
hell?
zoom. If you zoom in, it gets
Yeah,
real.
if
All
you get
240
if you zoom in on all that
240p, bro.
pixelated nonsense.
Well, this was also 2009.
Oh
too.
my god, that's
We weren't
so
really
funny.
walking around with cameras in our, you know.
Yeah.
Who is
pockets.
who in this?
All right, so it goes Shob's on the far left,
Oh my
then
god.
me,
Does that look long hair, show?
Yeah, that's a swoop. That's a swoop.
yeah.
I see that shit.
Then-
No,
then
it used
me,
to be- it used to be
and
down
then
to
Paul.
past my ass.
and Flynn's above Paul, and then
Okay.
Joe's playing drums.
Wow. Yeah, I can definitely see your nose. I can definitely see your nose, Derek.
You're like, I can tell that's Schnoz.
That's
from a mile
fucking
away.
Derek Schnoz.
That's Derek Schnoz right
Can't
there.
mistake it. That's great. I love that. Let's see. And then after that, like, you go down, and I love how even the role, the position that in the band, that's in Russian too. So obviously Brandon was vocale, like, you know, vocalist. That's cool. Paul Benson,
Guitar. I don't know how to pronounce that.
guitar. Well, yeah, if it's the same for both of you guys, that's probably
Yeah.
how you say guitar. Bass, yeah, back guitar,
Yeah.
and then drama or whatever. Dramarsho, like
He's a band.
vocale. That's
Yeah.
actually pretty cool. I like that. Why the fuck is it in Russian though? That's great.
I don't know.
Oh no, here's the English. If you change the URL to you see there's RU in the URL. If you change it to EN, that'll give you the.
Oh, okay.
Oh shit!
Got
Oh
it. Okay.
shit!
Hey, look.
Hey,
Hey, that's not as cool now.
I don't know
Yeah.
why Google spit out the
Oh,
one.
now it's
Google
just
gave
now
us
we don't have any street cred. We thought it was just some like underground Russian thing.
right? Like VK, bro. That's cool. So Joe Dashi, yeah. Well, I mean, at least we know how to say those words in Russian now. I kind of want to switch it back to Russian.
Yeah.
Apparently, fucking
Do it, man.
no. Apparently,
fucking-
Google thinks I'm a communist.
Joe and Joe and Brandon were both in Necrambulant.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's more of a crossover. Yeah.
Yeah, so
Sick.
me, Joe, Paul, Brandon, and Flynn were in After the Death of Man, and then I moved back to Havasu. Paul went to Unholy Monarch. Flynn went to Cave Dweller, which was members of Tomorrow the Stars. And then Joe and Brandon went to Necrambulant. So I moved back in 2 years. I was like, hey guys, you guys want to jam? And everyone's like, we have bands. So I'm like, cool, thanks. And then for
Fair.
4 years, didn't have any bands until I joined Avarice. And then I'm just like, hey, Tristan, you're mine now.
Hello,
Yeah.
child.
Here's how old that listing is. It's pointing to y'all's MySpace.
Oh my
Check out
god.
your MySpace. That's,
We have a
Man,
MySpace.
I spent
Yeah,
so much
why?
time on those profile layouts and stuff. That shit used to be so sick, and then they got rid of it all.
They did.
They
They had
didn't save for
accidental
posterity.
I
Bodies
remember
of
that.
Burning had a really sick MySpace too.
We all learned HTML because of MySpace. That's just what.
Dude, I
Wait.
had Dreamweaver, dude.
Green. Okay,
Wow.
so MySpace, is that the icon with the 3 people?
Yes.
And
Yeah.
then Green Wave would be
Damn,
the
yeah.
weird, like, okay, gotcha. Well, I can't click on it. That's big sad. But
Yeah, look, we got our top 8 is Converge, Intronaut, Cattle Decap, Devourment. She Was Dead When I Got There, Depraved Heretic,
Monumental Torment, and The Last of Lucy. Yeah.
Dude, Depraved Heretic. Wild.
I did a guitar solo for that band. I got fed like a sandwich and like $40.
Hey,
Back
there's
when
music
features-
on here
back when
On-
features were just
On
different.
what?
on
On the-
MySpace, but it's not gonna play, huh?
It's not
'Cause
gonna play.
MySpace.
Yeah.
It just says oh when I go to click on it.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Whoops. Sorry.
But yeah, it's there.
Okay.
Focus of Control. Hi everybody. Subtenance. And Anthropocene eats its shit, and I don't know what Seeded is.
Oh my god.
Was Seeded the song that I wrote for my dad? Also, I didn't know our album was called Interpreter of Preter Human Intelligence.
Oh yeah, there you go. Interpreter.
Oh
It's not interpreter, it's interpreter. Interpreter.
Yeah, there's
What
all
the
kinds
fuck?
of
Who
good
was in charge of the
spelling.
MySpace, Paul?
No idea.
Yeah, I wonder.
I had no idea, bro.
Yeah, I wonder who did it.
That's great. Well, I've never been on MySpace before, so this is new.
Why is it if
feel like
everything's
a baby,
dead,
bro.
if everything's dead, why is it even up?
Oh no,
Like,
they
why-
reactivated it. It was
It's like
a
it's like
while
walking through. It's like
Yeah.
walking through a fucking graveyard, dude.
I mean, if you want to listen to the music, I have it, and I can just present.
But like none of it works, none of the profiles work, none of the pictures work, everything's dead.
Well, that's because it's a super open. I remember back in the day, they got bought by somebody, and then they like had a data loss of like, you know,
Yeah.
a bunch of profiles, which is
Every-
then like being. Ooh, the Wayback Machine, the Internet Archives has a snapshot from 2010. Maybe
Of
that
us?
was a little better looking. You can see what it used to look like.
Wait, gentlemen, when did MySpace like collapse? When did it implode?
2009.
God, yeah.
We all jumped ship and went to
Facebook.
Facebook.
yeah.
Yeah, remember Friendster? Remember that?
Oh,
Yes,
God.
actually. I remember
I
Friendster.
remember pushing Bandcamp to everyone, and they're like, "That's weird," and I'm like, "No, man, it's like MySpace but better." And they're like, "I don't know,
I remember
man."
Stereo Killer and PAHardcore.com.
Oh,
Anyone remember
No.
LiveJournal?
Oh, dude, I still have a live journal.
Yeah.
I
Me
never-
too. Don't go look at it.
oh,
I made all my stuff private years ago. I had to try and explain Bandcamp to somebody today, and I was like, I've never thought about how do you do that? Like how I don't even. I said I don't even.
If I can share this, I'll show you.
do it,
I
bro.
have
Do
the
it.
@dom demo.
Bro, I want that.
Let's
Give me-
go.
There's
Can you see it?
Yes.
yeah.
Let's see if we can hear it though. I think if you might have to turn on a share sound option before you officially present.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know you. That's real easy to do with like Zoom, but
Yeah.
can you do that with Google Meet?
Yeah. Yep.
Uh,
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Hide. Is there like an audio setting thing? How do I get to it?
Oh, probably
Yeah.
just click stop presenting for a second if you
Okay,
can't find
stop
anything.
presenting.
Yeah, and then share. You'll hold
Oh
on.
yeah, at the bottom. Yeah, when you go share,
Yep.
there's the share tab audio option.
Exactly.
Dude, hell yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Where's
And then,
that?
It should be at the bottom. So it's like you have the Chrome tab.
More
option.
options.
There should be also share tab audio. And if it's not to the right and it's to the left and it's gray, turn it to the right and make it blue. Make it crit.
Toggle.
I'm trying to see.
So it has to be a tab. It can't be a standalone music player.
Or you can't share your system audio. Oh yeah, it's got to be a Chrome tab. It can't be. your
Yes.
system audio. Lame.
Which if you just
Oh.
open it up in a separate Google Chrome tab, that should be fine. And you just click on that
it's
tab.
an application called Music Bee.
Oh, okay.
You
That
could
should be in
probably
Windows.
open an audio file in Chrome. Just open a Chrome tab. And
Yeah.
I can do
file
that.
open. There you go. Let's go ham. Ha. I
Let's
showed the
go.
Wayback Machine, the MySpace snapshot from 2010, what it used to look like. And it's cool. It talks about y'all guys had shows July 31st, 2010 at Club Red. And then a live EP recording in September.
Oh yeah, we
Yep.
recorded our EP at Club Red.
That's sick.
That's-
What the
That's
fuck?
what's on my thing. I'm gonna show you.
Oh.
It's funny because the intro of it's like Brandon to the stage, please. Brandon to the stage, please.
That's great.
Oh yeah,
That shows substance as far
So-
as I'm concerned.
so
I'll
who-
just
who
share it
wrote-
to you,
who wrote
Sean,
this?
and you can do it.
Yeah, okay.
We focus on integral songwriting.
Yeah,
That's
none of the
a-
derivative
that-
songwriting.
That is a Benson sentence if I ever heard one.
Integral songwriting. Hardcore,
Anyone
post,
with-
death, black, bebop, punk, fusion. I like the sound of
That's
that.
got Benson all over it. I don't write shit like that.
We hope you enjoy the texture and ebb of our work.
That is so Benson. There you go. So there's the drive link.
Okay.
You can click that, and it should
Oh my god.
pull up live at Club Red. It's got photos in it. It's got everything.
Oh, if
Okay.
if it's in Google Drive, why couldn't you just open it?
I just uploaded it to Google Drive.
Oh, okay.
Oh, well, there you go. I'm gonna
Okay.
go ahead and snag a copy of these myself.
Hold on.
I just opened it to Google Drive so Sean could be
Yeah.
in control of
You guys
Yeah.
have
playing things and all that. So
Ooh, look at that.
Zune art files. Zune.
Okay.
yeah, because I had a Zune player.
And then let's see. What do we got here? Well, what file do I click on?
It's
Hey
only in 2
everybody.
songs.
Hey
There are
everybody.
2 MP3s in there.
Everybody.
Yeah, hey everybody is the first. There you go. I can hear it. That's That's Paul.
Hi everybody.
That's Job.
Hey everybody.
Yeah.
New tracks retendered.
Oh no,
That's
do
the next song
Locus of Control. That's the next
Oh.
song. Down.
Oh, down.
Down.
If you're, you might want to refresh it. 'cause
Oh.
Yeah,
it does take some
It probably
time
needs to refresh.
Dude,
Oh yeah,
There you
there's all
go.
the songs.
There you go. Oh, there they
Go
are.
down.
Hell yeah.
Go down. Yeah. So Eats It's Shit, I think it's the second song. There you go.
Ooh, that's
I
a
like
good
how
one.
song number 4 is.
Paul mixed himself louder than me. I said it.
There's a tremolo solos.
Oh, that sweeping is me. That's Paul. That dry ass guitar tone.
Nice.
He's like, hey, boxing, yo.
That's playing off bass. It's harmonic bonus in there.
Yeah.
Please.
Paul wrote this part like how a zombie walks. 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2. Derek's part.
Big boy.
This is his freeway.
Yeah, we were doing weird shit.
Good weird shit.
Blending a lot of genres. Hear him? You hear the Travis Ryan? That Paul doing that lead. Here comes me and Paul praying for our lives. This part's so hard to play.
Paul Sokol.
Yep, Paul Solo.
That's wild.
So yeah, that was.
Everybody.
Yeah.
Hey, thanks for coming out. After Death Man.
That's sick.
Fucking
So-
best song is probably, I don't know, either Tender for Substance or Locus of Control.
We can
Or-
always
Control
answer
is the
all.
ballad.
Go
Yeah,
down
I
this-
mean, if you want
go
to
down
listen to
this
them all,
other
go to
lane.
Tender for Substance.
I think
Yeah.
y'all should do a thumb drive re-release of this.
Next song we got coming up. It's called Tendered for Substance. I hope you enjoy it.
Baby Show.
It's a nice song.
Kind of sounds like Jonah Hill.
Yeah, me too. This part of the song is 21A. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. That's just the thing.
So chaotic. But also
He's like, I know the words. Oh, Sokol's gotta go. Love you, Sokol.
But yeah, I'll get back in my guy.
Hey, it's our converge part.
where Paul goes. Paul Sokol left the track.
Yeah. Paul's riff. Hungarian minor.
Sweet.
When I
All right.
Cool,
my
you guys are
first
digging it.
project-
This next one.
My first project with Paul was
Awesome.
called Gringos Locos,
Yes.
and
All right,
we,
let's get wasted
we
tonight.
played
Yeah,
a
beer.
battle of the bands. I think I
Over the
had
counter.
met them for like a weekend.
For failure, let's do this.
We played together. But it'd be cool to hear from Paul more of the Gringos backstory, because we did that for a little while, but then we almost kind of immediately went into @Dom stuff. So
Yeah, I literally I wasn't a part of any of that. I just remember hearing about you guys like being in Vegas and someone having white shoes.
yeah, yeah, that was me.
So how did Gringos Locos form?
Well, Gringos Locos was formed with friends from my high school. We used to be called Endeavor, and then we were something else, and then we were something else. And we settled on Gringos Locos
But how did you get the name?
because we were a bunch of crazy white dudes.
You know, thinking back, like that mural that we had, I'm like, dude, we've always had this kind of crossover hip hop metal vibe. That's
Yeah.
pretty cool. That's pretty cool. So we used to have in our practice, because we all lived together, right? So in like the living room, there was this huge wall mural that was like this super sick graffiti of the band name with like Arizona sunset and stuff like that. It was super cool.
Why don't we have cool shit like that? I don't know.
Because we don't live together.
Not yet.
I'm sure your wife and 4 kids would love if I moved in.
Yeah, that's the last thing I need is another child to take care of.
Yeah, he gets it.
I mean, like, I think of Tristan too, especially from the fucking what is it? The Death of Slam music video where he's all like cracked down, looks like he has shit on his teeth. Like,
It's a fucking grill.
He has shit on his teeth. No, yeah, he's wearing a grill.
He's wearing a
Wearing a
fucking
grill, man.
grill,
that
dude.
was supposed to be what it was.
It's a golden grill with vampire teeth.
Oh my god!
We call him
so
Slampire
stupid
because
now.
he's so fucking gay. Speaking of vampire and gay stuff, hey Paul, how you doing, buddy? remember your aesthetic in your bedroom?
It was very gothy.
Yeah, he still has some of that.
He had candles and wine
Daggers.
bottles and
Oh
daggers.
god, that sounds like an ideal room for me. I can't lie.
Yeah, his room was much cooler than mine. Mine had like a beanbag on the floor.
My room had a guitar, an amplifier, and a computer and a bed. I don't even know if I had posters up. I was just
You're only getting posters now because of the festival you guys went to, and that's right
Yeah.
behind you. Yeah.
oh,
Chicago. Chicago.
Oh.
That's great. I love
quick
fucking-
screenshot. Yeah.
Right. There's a thumbnail right there.
Oh God,
Yeah.
please no.
It's funny. I listening to those songs, man. I almost got a little bit emotional. It was like remembering
No.
all of our youths.
Go listen to song 4. That one's real good.
I'll listen to song 4 right fucking now.
So there's song 3. Where's 4?
4 is right here.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's what. All right, this is the one that Paul and Flynn wrote by themselves, and I just somehow tried to salvage it.
Oh yeah, this is our slam song.
Yeah, I had like 0 writing credits on this little thing, except for the end. Split grip. I like this grip though. Yeah, we're playing. Let's see you fucking guys kill each other. Oh, there goes Don. That was the part in the show where everyone just was like,
What the hell?
Thanks everybody coming out. See a lot of friends. Thank you.
did that guy just make the John Petrucci video real?
Hey, that's the next man, in case you didn't catch the name. Tempe, Arizona. And if you didn't know, this shit's being recorded fucking live. So, yeah. Ooh, okay.
I love Brandon now, but I miss the Brandon then when it comes to like performing.
I'm terrible. I'm not out of my fucking mind anymore.
I'm just like, I'm like, Shob, say something. He's like,
that's correct.
Song.
He kind of sounds like an aggressive Jonah Hill back then. He's like more like under new management. Like,
yeah, Anthropocentric was the second song we ever wrote, and it's very like jazzy start. It's pretty cool. I love my guitar solo, and then me and Paul do trading off solos on this song. It sounds so mad. You can do what I'm trying to do.
Yeah.
black metal part. There was like, how can we stand on this idea? We're gonna tap it, make a big board, black metal. More of us wanting to burn each other. Remember Paul tried to play this?
Thank you very much. All right, hey. Yeah. Hey, everybody look at this guy's shirt. If you like it, they're for sale over there, $8. I fucking made it, so it's great.
$8 we were selling shirts for.
Yeah. Stick
What a
around, we got
different
great amount of
economy.
fucking shit.
It's good for the
Get on timer. Cool, thank you.
Yeah, there's only one song left, I believe.
Oh, really? Well, we got more metal for you fuckers then.
Good timing.
Yeah, I was
let's
like,
see,
I was like, yo,
I
let's
guess we
do
can Control.
Well,
Yeah,
I was like,
everybody knows that song. It's
let's do
great.
the song that I wrote for my dad. No, that one's a downer. Let's do the one that's all hype. I was like, fuck.
Yeah, that's cool. Thank you.
All right. Easily overweighted.
On this note, though, guys, I gotta go start getting my boys into the bath.
Yeah.
Paul, I love you. I'm glad I got to participate and hang out and walk down memory lane a little bit. Sean, thank you for having me. Derek, thank you for being a great host as always.
Until next time, Pops.
Yeah. All right. I'm gonna head out, but I'm gonna keep you guys on YouTube. I'm just gonna, like I said, dip out so I can go take care of bath time routines.
Yeah, you're
Awesome.
good, bro. You're good. Thank you for stopping by.
All right. All right. Adios, guys.
Sayonara.
Love you, BB.
Bye, Paul.
Bye.
I've just been happy just looking at Paul while listening to him play guitar because I'm like, it's my Paulie.
Yeah. And we'll go ahead and play the last one.
Yeah, this is the first song we wrote together.
Oh shit. Is there like definitely want to make sure your commentary isn't like blasted out by the other music. Is there anything else?
The main thing about this was we were at the Depraved Heretic practice. Everyone walked outside, I think, to smoke weed or something. I wasn't like an open smoker with Paul. I lived with Paul. One day I came home from work just pissed off. I was like, grabbed the like weed thing across from him, and he's like, "What are you doing? You don't smoke?" I'm like, "Yeah, I do." And he's just like, "What?" And then I got really high, and he was like, "Derek's cool now." That was the general consensus around everyone in the group. I was like, "Oh man, cool. Derek's cool now." But yeah, they all went outside. I was playing on the guitar, and he had like this delay pedal or something, and I was just like, came up with this one little melody, and then I went back home, workshopped it, wrote it all on Tablet, and had like a solid good chunk of it. And you'll hear the solid good chunk of it because it's like a long intro before the song even starts. And that was like what I basically wrote by myself on Tablet. And once Paul got involved, we started shifting shit up and doing cool things, and it's really cool. So
let's play it.
What a weird blend of music. We opened up for Watain with this band.
Smoke some pat.
It was, and when Brandon kept on calling him, "What's up, you guys ready for Wu-Tang?"
Like, wait, Wu-Tang Clan?
Yeah, he kept on just mispronouncing it on purpose.
Oh, see, like that didn't register with me at first. That is pretty fucking weird, but I love that.
Watain was a black metal band, and he would just call him Wu-Tang.
Oh, okay. I'm like,
to
wait
like
a
fuck
minute.
with everyone.
Gotcha. Okay, that's still pretty cool. I love that actually.
He's just funny.
Yeah, no, he's always been.
But thank
fun.
you for we were in a band together. That was it. We had some other music. I posted on my Facebook us like going through like practicing at home and stuff like that. So there's videos, more in-depth videos of like me and Paul playing. Anyone go my Facebook? I think I tagged Paul. If not, like
I think you did.
Yeah, you can see all the videos of us playing basically the songs you just heard, but also there's some of us writing chorals together. And my favorite video is like Paul Antsy, and he's got his thing, and like his little feet are just tapping. He's like, because he's waiting for me to like push record so we can work on the stuff.
No, fair. That's really cool. I wholeheartedly think that this will be like, if dude, up to this point, probably one of the biggest things that's ever happened to this podcast. Like, holy shit, dude. Biggest thing that's ever happened to me as well. Because like I said at the very beginning of the session earlier today at like 5. So now it's been almost 2.5 hours that we've been doing this. And we did have a donation. Shout out to my buddy Josh Martineau from Cole and Other Endeavors. He
thank you very much.
Yeah, he shared the link in as many places as possible. But me and him have been pretty close over the years, and he made a donation. So we appreciate you, buddy. We appreciate.
Yeah, I've been spamming and sharing and doing everything I can.
Yeah.
My buddy Devin just had a problem with his cat, so I was sharing both of them, and I felt weird. I'm like, people of the internet, I have 2 people who need your need now.
Yeah, 2 people who are in need of help. Yeah,
but Devin got all of his stuff squared away. He's all taken care of, and I actually won the raffle he did. So
good.
It was wild. I have his guitar now. So Devin of the Acacia Strain had his cat thing, and every $20 you donated got you an entry into the raffle. And much like I donated to Paul an amount, whether they want to discuss it or not, I donated the same amount to Devin, and it basically gave me a lot more votes, I think, than other people. And I feel bad if it like ruled out other people, but I think I had like 51 entries.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I got that guitar, and so I'm really excited about that. But that's not about that. This is about Paul. I've been trying really hard to promote about Paul and spamming it wherever I can, and just talking about stuff because, as you can see, he's doing better, a lot better. He's able to talk, but he's got a long road ahead of him, and I want the metal scene to acknowledge everything that Paul has done for it, and be there for Paul.
Yeah,
so I'm really looking forward to this benefit show. I'm hoping we can raise as much money as possible. I was talking to Shobe about it, but we haven't really like discussed anything. We wanted to like make a shirt with like a design on it and donate all the profits to Paul. So yeah.
Yeah. I mean, overall too, one thing I was thinking of, I think either the other Paul, like someone in the call mentioned it. But I was like, yo, what if you guys like repressed all of those songs on that EP, turned it into a physical, and attempted to sell that?
Yeah, I was saying we should put it up on Bandcamp, and all the profit go to fucking Benson. Like, the best thing about those songs in that band was that I got to be it's experimental and collaborative with such great musicians that I really admire, like, and look up to. And it was really funny because with that band, none of us knew what the other person was like really playing. We really tried to approach it like Emperor, where it was like Paul has his guitar parts. What Paul plays is what Paul plays. What Derek plays is what Derek plays. When they like play together, they're very complementary, or like they like weave in and out of each other.
Yeah.
And you probably heard that a bunch, but he would do like weird chord shapes and things, and I would be like, what's the root note of that? And he'd be like, I don't know. And I'd be like, just hold the chord. And I'd like find it, and then I'd be like, okay, so that's that one, that's this one, and I would like make a riff based on like what he was doing. Like his zombie riff, the 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 was what, 9/8, Paul? Yeah. And I had no idea how the fuck to play what he was playing, so I just went but he was doing like these crazy elaborate chords, doing like basically that same like rhythmic pattern, but I was expanding on what his chords were by doing the notes. Basically, band practice was hilarious.
Yeah.
If one of us was missing, it just didn't sound like the song at all.
Yeah. No, that's great. But like, honestly, it's so cool to know that most of that for the like in the moment could have been improv, and you guys just connected on that level, so it just worked as well as it did. Not many people can say that.
No, when I played guitar with Paul, it was very much it was a really cool experience. I've played guitar with only a few people in bands, and because not a lot of them can quote, I hate saying this, but keep up, I guess is the easiest way to put it, you know?
Cool.
Like I have an idea and I want to play it and I want to like express it a certain way. If other people can't play along, then it's like,
we're in my car.
Okay. Yeah, you're good. You can continue, Derek.
If other people can't keep like, you know, play along or keep up or whatever, then the idea kind of has to be like tailored or like dumbed down or watered down. And with Paul, I had to try to keep up with him because he was just musically on a different level than I was. Yeah, I had like technique and stuff, but he had all this creativity and like world of building stuff. I still write songs the way that me and Paul wrote songs, because I never wrote songs with another person really before. We had a whiteboard, and we would be like the name of the song, like we just whatever working title it was, and it'd be like A, and then we'd name like the riff, and we'd say how many times does this riff go, and it'd be like A, and then say it's like a variation of it, it'd be like A1, A2, A3, A4, whatever. And I don't remember how far we got, but I think we got to J. Oh, there was a lot of riffs in some of those songs. Whereas now when I write in Virulent and I have that, it's like A, B. Okay, we got to D. That's it. We got 4 riffs in this song.
That's all we need. And make that an entire album. Stat.
Yeah, I mean, even when I learn other people's music, or I go and try to like chart other bands or something like that, like because when we had to do covers and stuff like that, I pull out a piece of paper, I listen to the song, and it's kind of the way that Paul showed me how to like write, you know, a song. So I just use like, and it's a very music thing. Like in, I watch a lot of Drumeo things. People, it's called like creating a chart or like other things like that. And there's different ways of doing it. And I like the way that Paul showed me. So
fair enough.
Thank you for the life skill.
You're welcome.
But overall, like, yeah, obviously it was very important. It was very charming to have both Pops and Derek here in session to kind of like provide their perspective on, you know, who the man of the hour is, who the man of the 2.5 hours so far, and then a minute.
Mr. Benson.
Let's go, Benson. Like this dude has a lot of connections to a lot of people I've known. I've learned about you like a lot recently. Just all in one go too. Maybe in like the massive 5 minutes. I'm like, wait a minute.
It's always
the funniest Club
thing.
Red?
Yeah, people were talking about Club Red, and I'm just like, oh yeah, my buddy owned that. They're like, wait, what? I'm like, oh yeah, Paul. They're just like, people are probably just thinking blowing smoke up their ass, and I'm just like, no, that's like my bestie.
Paul. Yeah.
He threw a going away party for me when I moved back to Havasu at his venue.
That's so sick.
He was outside cooking burgers. He hooked up his Xbox, or was it PlayStation? It was to the sound system inside. So we played video games through the sound system of Club Red.
That's so fucking cool.
It
Like,
was fucking rad.
I'm sure. Like, dude, there is a potato. It used to be a potato barn. It was abandoned. It was off of Higley and Williamsfield. It was right next to where my buddy used to live.
Okay.
It was right next to a train track as well. It was fenced off and everything. And we were like trying to turn that into a musical venue, but we were like way too loud and we were trespassing, so we almost got arrested. But you know,
Oh wow, that's
Yeah.
scary.
yeah, felony and
Wanna get
everything like that too, right? And then yeah, that story really just ended before it started. Like, we were just sweeping around inside the potato barn because it was all dusty and shit, but it was like, it felt so big in there. There was so much room. It could definitely been a venue, but I think they turned it into a restaurant of some sort that has like 2 different levels. It's so weird now. I have to go there and like kind of see what they did inside it, but yeah.
So to this day, every time I see Show, but I'm in Phoenix, we're driving down University. Man's just like, hey, so wouldn't it be cool if like Club Red 3 was where like Stray Cats used to be? Like Paul should like get that building and like make like Club Red 3 right there. And I'm just like, yeah, it would, Show. Sure would, buddy. And he's just like,
I want Club Red back, bro. I want it back so bad, and especially you know.
I want it back also. But I also want my friend to be, you know,
Yes.
okay. Like if he doesn't have the like financial like availability to do it or something like that,
Yeah.
I would just want whatever Paul is going to be safe and like secure and take care of it. Because
Paul first.
You were starting at ASU. You were going to be an instructor there very soon. That was like the last time we were like talking before all this started happening. Right?
Yeah, it was a possibility that I was going to start teaching some basic audio.
Because what were you doing at ASU when you were there?
He still technically works there.
I still
Okay.
technically work there.
Okay, thank you. Well, what do you provide for ASU? I love you.
I'm the lead AV tech for the ASU School of Music in Tempe.
Okay. Can you elaborate on what that means? Because I'm dumb.
It means I do all of the recordings for all of the recitals.
Okay.
I do rehearsals. I do classroom maintenance.
Do you have a pretty big board there?
Just an X32.
Okay, so 32 channels. It's X32. Who makes that one? Behringer?
Yeah.
Yeah, there'd be nothing like coming home to, you know, talk to stuff. I'm going to school for electrical engineering, and Paul be like equations on the fucking thing and be like, if you have a speaker with this many resistors and this many resistors, what's the ohms? And I'm like, bro, like the what? He like, do you want dinner? Solve the question. I'm like,
I love that.
what the fuck, buddy? He's like, it's parallel, it's easy, it's just half of it.
I mean, it's the same thing as me going downstairs after doing Duolingo now for a little over a year and be like, okay, I need you to quiz me. How do you say, like, ask me what we don't have in the house, and just like, you know, kind of figuring out these whack ass equations with my younger sister. That was really fun last night. That's how you really learn another language, even if you don't live in a state that like actively has people walking around it, like Mekong Plaza, Asiana Market, H Mart. Like, those are really the only places.
I love H Mart so much.
But Mekong,
my favorite place.
Mekong Plaza, dude. I went there the other day with my older sister. Fell in love.
Where is that one?
That's up at Dobson as well. It's right across the street.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Have you been to the Kofco Center?
Oh, wait. What, Costco Center?
Kofco, I believe. Yeah,
Kofco.
it was it's this Asian I don't know if it's still there, but it was this whole like district in like Phoenix that was like this giant plaza of like shops and market and everything. It was off of it was by 40th and Thomas, because that's where I lived, and it was like close to there.
Whoa, that actually sounds really sick. I might have
it
to
was
go
called the
look for that.
Kofco Center, wasn't it, Shalise?
Yeah, I think it closed down.
Oh, it closed down?
Oh,
It may have. Don't quote me.
the center features restaurants varying from Asian cuisines, retail shops, offices, upscale Asian thing. Yeah, it's on 44th Street, 668 North 44th Street. Yeah, that was back in like 2012 is when this was posted.
Yeah, because there was I remember there was a cultural center, something like that, in Phoenix that did close down, that had a lot of shops and stuff like that. And a lot of people moved over to the Mekong area. We used to live right next to there because we were at Dobson and Broadway.
Yeah, what? Wow, there's like a bunch of stuff happening with that. Like you can just go read all about that. What the hell?
Mm-hmm. There was like a whole bunch of drama over it, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
This headline says, "This is a hate crime. Battle heats up between activists and developers at Chinese Cultural Center."
Yep.
And that was in 2018. So yeah, I have no idea what happened. But anyway, Sean, it was there.
Once upon a time,
It
before
was,
the 2020s.
Yeah, it was the Chinese Cultural Center. It was the Kafka Center.
That sounds
Yep.
so sick.
It was.
It
It's
was.
like Arizona's
It was-
Chinatown.
There was like a bunch of like koi ponds everywhere. So it's just koi just swimming around. There's like bridges and like dope shit.
Bro, I hate cancel culture. I hate all these people nowadays. They're like, it's a hate crime. I'm like, bro, it's just keeping people open-minded, keeping them possibly aware of those cultures in the first place. It's like, dude.
I don't know, man. I get tired of that shit.
A developer bought it over and like pushed everyone out by upping the rent a bunch.
That's so fucked.
Hey,
Yeah.
that sounds funny. Something about Club Red happened to, pushing out, after the
pandemic and the rent going up. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh wow. What a weird thing. I wonder if that's a standard business practice by pieces of shit or something.
Man.
I said it. Paul didn't. He's like, by legal obligation, I'm not agreeing or disagreeing with what Derek is saying.
I shall not confirm or deny that they spiked my rent. It's bad for the economy.
Yeah. I need a COVID-proof business. Well, I need you to fucking go and hero, bud.
I need you to just fuck right off there, bud.
Yeah. Oh God. Let's go take a long walk off the shortest pier there.
Good shit. So, we more or less, I think, have like kind of wrapped up Derek's perspective on like, him and Paul's story. Unless of course there was anything else you wanted to mention, Derek, that just like
we lived together. We did after the death of man. I moved away. I came back. He was in like musical projects and stuff. He opened up a recording studio for a little bit, B&K Sound Labs. We lived together till December of 2013. And then I moved out. I went to go live with some people. And then by like a year later, I had a nervous breakdown, ended up on, disability and all that. But Paul kept going strong. They moved the location from the old location to the new location. Club Red started popping off. They added the food truck. And when I had to move back to Havasu in 2016, I had my going away party there. And then every time I came out to come to a show, whether it was me going to Club Red or not, I would hit up Paul pretty much like I still do to this day. And I'd call him, like show up in town like before a show and be like, "What are you doing?" He's like, "I'm going to Costco to go grab some water and some stuff. You want to come with?" And I'm like, "Fuck yeah, I want to come with." So I get in his little in his car, or Plymouth or whatever at the time. Then later on he had like a truck. But yeah, I love spending every waking moment I generally can with Paul when I'm around Paul. I like making him laugh. He likes making me laugh. He's normally, I don't want to say he's normally a more talkative person before this, but he definitely wasn't this quiet.
He's piecing it together. That's okay.
You okay?
Yeah.
No, he can get talkative. It's just I think it's a little overwhelming a bit. There's a lot to process. Derek,
Yeah.
you talk a lot, Derek.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
And he's kind of quieter now, like his actual voice after he had a
Yeah.
tracheostomy.
Oh, okay. I just meant in general. Back in the day, he wasn't. He was a lot more talkative, just to kind of paint that picture of Paul. Especially if he felt a certain way about something. Also, I'm very sorry, Paul, for getting that Architects merch before you could, and then they booked up and left, and then I went home, and I didn't stay for Protest the Hero, and you came home and you were mad. I love you.
Yeah, you asshole.
Who was that?
He was so mad.
That was at a show that I did at Club Red, Protest the Hero, the Architects, somebody else, and somebody else. We were really godly to get some of the Architects merch.
Oh, I see.
But
I
they-
grabbed myself something,
Yeah.
and then I was tired and went home.
Yeah.
And then after I went home, I guess they botched up all their merch and went home.
Yeah, and Paul was
So Paul never got any Architects merch.
Rip.
He told me, if Converge ever comes to play Club Red, I'm banning you from the venue for that. I was like, oh my God, bro.
Let it go.
I'm like, no, it's chill.
I mean, I would probably do the same thing. Depending on the band, it's like, you motherfucker. You got the last one. I've had moments like that before. I mean, mainly just because I'm already such a big dude. I have to have big old baggy 3XL everything. Otherwise, one bad laundry wash, bro, and I'm just ready. I had to sell most of my closet. It's the worst thing ever. So when I miss opportunities to get merch, especially if I personally knew the guy, it's like, you fucker, get out of here. I would probably be the same way. That's a funny story though. It's great. I love that.
But yeah, that was basically a quick synopsis history of us, our friendship, how we met, and the time that we have spent together. And I'm always looking forward to more time and years and progressing and stuff with Mr. Benson. I can't wait. If he opens a Club Red 3, I'll be there playing all the time. I can't wait for that. If he never does, I'll still have the memories. I hope at least a food business opens, because the man's got some good idea when it comes to food.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I'm proud to be his friend, and I'm honored to be his friend. I've never known a harder working, more determined, more driven person, to the point that when I meet people and they're just like, oh, I wish I had more time to do this. I'm like, you do have time to do that. You're choosing not to. And they're like, I'm like, I knew a man who the only time he scheduled was time to sleep. He was like, all right, I got this going on and this and this and this. I got a window of 4 hours between these things. That's when I'm going to go home and sleep. And it wasn't even a sleep time. It was between fucking 1 and 4, 5. He's like, all right, I'm done with this school. And before I got to go to Club Red, I can go sleep. And then fucking hardest working man. I call him a robot to this day. Just because it's inhuman almost. But
Yeah.
Between him and Show, those are the two hardest working, strongest, brightest men I've ever met in my life.
Hell yeah. I'm definitely trying to do the homework, and after this live stream, I'm maybe taking a nap for 3 hours, and then I got a podcast session at midnight, probably to 4 a.m. with the band from Spain.
Oh, nice.
Overnight, bro. Overnight podcast, baby.
Anyways,
Let's make it work.
Paul, did I make you cry yet?
No.
He says,
just laughs now. No, and I will tell you, this guy can fall asleep without even trying. It's really annoying. So when Derek says he literally was scheduled to sleep, yeah, he'll lay down and be asleep in 1 or 2 minutes. Out.
That's not fair. That's never been a thing for me. It usually takes at least half an hour to an hour for me to crash out, if that, and that's without any sleeping meds. I envy everybody who is able to just pass the fuck out on a whim. That's one wish from the genie. Swear to God. I wish I could just fall asleep in 5 minutes and just be freaking paralyzed level sleeping, just like whatever, just ready to freaking throughout the entire night. I don't want to wake up.
If I had a wish from a genie, I would ask if time stopped while I slept, so I could sleep as long as I want and then still be able to be productive, and no one would know.
Well, here's the thing though. What if that extended into you sleeping for like 24 hours or 48 hours?
Yeah.
And bro.
I wake up after 48 hours of rest and I'm all charged up.
I suppose so.
Mountain Dew.
Brandon, oh god. Paul's like, yeah, actually, long terms of sleep don't do good for the body.
It's kind of opposite for me right now.
I mean, he's in the bed 24/7, so yeah.
How's your
let
physical
me up.
therapy going, buddy?
Huh?
How's your physical therapy going?
PT's going good.
Good.
He can move his legs a bit now, and
Can you push the gas pedal?
what?
You can push the gas pedal now?
Not quite yet. Not quite yet. And then he has a lot more hand movement, but
Yeah.
just being able to control the fingers,
I'm just waiting for him to be able to flip me off. Oh,
There you go.
yeah.
There it is. Woo! Yeah, baby, that's what I'm talking about. It's beautiful.
Oh, I love you so much, buddy.
Love that shit.
Oh.
But I mean, really, as we're like more or less continuing the story, and I think we'll be discontinuing the story. Well, I make it sound like we're discontinuing, like we're stopping it. No, as we're kind of like just continuing to learn a little bit more about you, Paul, and everything like basically up until now in about maybe like 20 or 30 minutes more, because we've been at this for a little bit now for sure. And I do got to get some rest for the midnight session. But kind of branching off and segueing, because that's podcast dialogue or podcast, whatever talk. After you did ASU, after you did MCC, you graduated from your program. I can only imagine you just continued to be comfortable, really, over at Club Red. You got nice and cozy. You continued talking to Patrick. And then eventually, well, you would end up acquiring, right? You would end up being the new owner of the Club Red venue, whether it be the first version, the second version. I'm not sure how all that played out, but I'm sure you'll let us know. How did that process end up happening?
Talk about when Patrick left to go to ASU and then you getting promoted and helping open the new venue.
So Patrick left to go to ASU. And when he did that, the job opened up for me to become the production manager. And I didn't know that I wasn't supposed to be there for this meeting, but I was. And so like they basically told me that I was going to be production manager in front of all the other management. And I didn't know I wasn't supposed to be for that conversation. But I was just like, yeah, cool, guys. Everybody is great.
That's cool. That's really cool. So I'm sure that was a little bit of a surprise to you. And for maybe a lot of people who are a little bit more introverted, maybe they're socially awkward, like that could have been easily a wash of panic. But you're just like, yeah, cool. I fuck with it,
Yeah.
That's cool. And so, becoming the production manager, how did things change for you when you were at the venue from that point on?
I was working quite a bit. I was actually doing Tempe Tavern, Club Red, and this other place occasionally called Najana's.
I remember driving you there.
Yeah. And basically I would get into like processing audio and like building stuff and designing stuff and stuff like that. And I had to pick the new speakers for the new Club Red. When I first picked these speakers out, I picked them out because they were 38 pounds a piece. So A, I could lift them all by myself if I had to. And B, because they were 1400 watts a piece. So that threw a lot of audio like in the direction that you wanted it in. And yeah, I basically designed both of the systems on both sides of Club Red at the time, and like continued to help with the process throughout. Like when we got the QSC center fills.
And then did you help with any of the promotion stuff at that time too?
Yeah, I was also doing promoting for the venue and the food truck.
Through Appalling Events, right?
Yep.
And that was with Sokol.
Yep, and we did every genre. We did hip hop. We did, you know, metal.
You did reggae too, right?
Yeah,
Punk.
punk.
What state line was that? Country or?
Yeah, State Line was a country band. They
So you
were
did all the genres.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
They were a very unique country band.
There's stories.
Lots of cops involved.
Nice. Makes
And
for a more
then-
spicy story.
If you could have Paul on here again just to have spicy stories about Club Red.
You know I'd be so fucking down. Are you kidding me? Do a fucking live podcast session every Friday until we get this 50 grand up. Swear to God.
That'd be amazing.
And then
I
so
think we might have to do that, honestly. Like if there's enough stories with enough bands, like I
Oh.
can't imagine, bro.
this is just scratching the surface.
Exactly. So this might be uncharted territory per se for a podcast, but I'm fucking down. Like let's do this every Friday until we get to that 50 grand, bro. Swear to God.
And Paul
Sorry.
worked with some even like bigger artists, you know, like say they were like super popping off, but then they kind of like got a little bit smaller, so then they'd be
Yeah.
able to play a room like Club Red or something.
Right.
You work with like Afro Man and stuff like that.
Yeah, quite a bit too.
Yeah, quite a few times.
Sweet. Well, if anything, this can be more or less the prologue episode and like the prologue live stream session to like begin crowdfunding and begin pulling more people in. And well, I mean, honestly, depending on if I even get the file sent to me after the call ends, then I can just go ahead and upload that as another podcast session. Boom, bada bang. Like we can tell your story, and then we can just tell all the stories that there are to be told about Club Red. Like what an honor as an AZ local, you know, even if I am just a homeless ass looking rat. Like
There was a huge campaign during COVID to try to save Club Red.
Yeah.
I forget who organized it, but was it Stephen Poff?
Oh, it was Matt Turkington.
Matt Turkington,
Yeah.
who was a singer of a band called Animus Complex, but he did other stuff, I believe, as well.
okay.
He had a really famous video
Yeah,
that made him money.
he went very viral for that.
Yeah.
He went and stood next to like a wacky wavy inflatable and arm flaying tube man and mimicked it and pretended like he was a human one.
And it just went crazy viral. People have imitated it a lot, but he was the first.
Yeah.
Nice. Sweet. Well, so you got the keys to the castle per se, and you ended up then becoming the production manager. You worked at the venue a lot more. When you became production manager, did you become the owner of the venue, or were there like other steps after that would like kind of get you to the top of those stairs?
There was other steps to that got me to those stairs.
Gotcha.
What were those steps?
Then I became the booking manager after that. So I would help filter shows that we wanted that were beneficial and filter shows that could potentially be dangerous.
State line.
No, like stuff were just, could be
No,
harmful or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I'm just making a joke. I'm sorry.
Well, for example, we ended up hosting ICP there one time,
Wow.
Whoop.
and we were able to manage the show quite well, actually.
I'm sure King 810 was another one of those bands along the way that was like, ooh, got to be careful with these guys if you guys ever hosted them, because I know they've caused issues in other countries, being an actual like murder band, or at least their frontman, what is it? What's his name? Forgot his name. David Gunn. There you go. Their vocalist David Gunn like actually went to jail and shit for murder, and then he came back and boom, like King 810 is not exactly a skyrocketing ghost main level rap metal band, but they're slowly climbing the ranks, you know.
Did you ever host that band?
Yeah, I think so.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I can't even imagine all the stories that you might have. Like, yo, we gotta tell all these stories.
So what did you do after booking manager? What was the next
Yeah.
step?
Then I was a general manager, where I got used to like taking care of the finances and doing like all the small little extra things. And then I became part owner.
The previous owner passed away, and it was taken over by his daughter and her fiance, now husband.
Anthony?
Yeah. And they owned it, but then set up Paul with, a chance to be able to be part owner, and that's how you got made part owner.
Sweet. So then there's only like a slight disconnect on my end in thinking that like you're just like the full owner, at least you were the final owner until it shut down, or did you end up being the full owner before it shut down?
I didn't end up being the full owner before it shut down.
Gotcha. Okay. So it's between you and who else then? Is it still that daughter of former owner's husband, or like who's the other owner?
Yeah, well, I mean, he sold the liquor license, right? So, or else Paul signed off his part of it, and Anthony did whatever he wanted to do with it.
Oh, gotcha. And then obviously, kind of getting more caught up into the 2020s and stuff back in 2020. Well, there were a lot of venues across the country that ended up becoming what we call pandemic losses. When I know it was like at least closer to the summer of 2020, or even, yeah, it had to have been closer to the summer. Like, how did that whole experience go? I'm sure it wasn't fun by any means, but it's like, what were the thoughts going through your head at the time? Like, how are you feeling about the music industry when Club Red was like basically forced to shut down until further notice?
It really sucked, but I'd always hoped to get it back up and running again.
Naturally.
And tell them what you did when it first shut down.
And when it first shut down, I bought a bunch of food and supplies and stuff that I had access to, like in restaurant stores, and gave it away to my employees, my friends, like whoever needed something, whether it be paper towels or a burger.
Yeah. Very admirable, very respectable, if I may say. Like, you understood at the time that the future wasn't certain, but there's always something when you get to that point in life, when you get to that point in just what you're doing with life, there's always something that you're capable of doing, right? There's always something that you can give back to those around you, and that's exactly what you did. So I commend you for that. Since then, obviously, things have been not like pretty uncertain, right? The music industry at large really only came back late 2021, which would be a year since your legendary the legendary venue that is Club Red shut down. How, like, as things became a little bit more positive, there were more silver linings poking through the overcast. What was one of the first things that you were wanting to do musically when shows came back?
So you had already gotten the job at ASU, right?
Yeah, I had already gotten the job at ASU at that point.
So you were just going to shows.
Yeah.
Getting involved in the scenes, maybe seeing the new bands coming through town. Were there any kind of
You did Dinner Waterfest.
were there any like post-pandemic bands that you didn't see before the pandemic, right? Maybe they just were born during those darker, more uncertain times that when shows came back, you're like, oh, okay, this is pretty cool. Like, were there any were there any bands that surprised you after shows came back that you can recall at this time?
No, not at this time.
You went and saw Shores of Ithaca. They came out of that, didn't they?
Yeah, I think so. Saw Shores of Ithaca.
Mark Gray,
Yeah.
I've
Good,
heard
good,
of Shores
good.
of Ithaca.
good
Yeah.
good friend of ours.
Oh, good.
Mark loves Paul very, very much. He was the drummer of Apparitions and temporary drummer of Knights of the Abyss, and he was one of the first people to hit me up about Paul and trying to get a benefit show.
Shit. Okay. No, I think I remember you mentioning that now. You were like, that was one of the things you were DMing me about. I'm like, oh, okay, cool. Shores of Ithaca. I know who that is.
Yeah.
More or less. Like,
He was also the drummer of Dead World Reclamation. That's the other bigger band that he was.
Gotcha. Yeah. Now the dots are connecting.
Now you know who Mark Gray is.
Yeah, exactly.
Mark, shout out. I love you, Dad. Anyways.
So, I mean, obviously, now we're a little bit more or less caught up, right? We have told your prologue. We have told about your overall story as opposed to the stories of the many bands, the hundreds of bands, really, since you were involved with Club Red over all these years, all the people that you've possibly met since then. Well, things have changed. And now, basically, our goal will be, and I'm not even kidding, this is not a bluff by any means. I think our goal from this point on, basically until you get the assistance you need, until we can help you the way that we want to, we will be looking to tell even more of your stories every Friday around this time in the afternoon. And quite literally, for those who are watching this basically in post, or maybe anybody who happens to see like when it's no longer live is what I'm trying to say. When this podcast is no longer live and you happen to be an AZ local act and you want to get involved in this, you want to get involved in spreading this around, that way we can help Paul the way that he needs our help right now. Well, I will be more than willing to look into basically having you on the podcast with us, even if it's just to say thank you to Paul because you were a band that happened to play at his venue a time or two, right? Well, there's a lot of history that went through those walls. I should know. I was there. Like, I can't ever say that I went on a deathcore / death metal date to a show. Like, I only had that experience once, and that was at Now Theater. This mic actually right behind the camera. Let's see. So back in 2019, when it was Disentomb, Signs of the Swarm, Mental Cruelty, and Visceral Disgorge, I won this mic, which was used that night when they came through town, bouncing back and forth between me and David Simonich, the third. Shout out to David. We were doing Cesspool of Ignorance while they were crowd surfing someone in a wheelchair, and they were helping him just bop up and down. So much history, so much personal history within those walls is basically what I'm trying to allude to. And as far as I'm concerned, this mic also kind of connects me to the Nile. Or Jesus Christ, to Club Red, sorry. I
Paul's
have
also worked at the Nile. not
Right.
like worked, but he's an audio engineer, so he just wherever band wanted him, he's gone. He mixed Apparitions and Knights of the Abyss for the Griffin Memorial show that was at the Nile.
Heard. Okay. So, I mean, yeah, not only do we profoundly know you now on the Anatomy podcast as being former part owner, right, of the Club Red venue, hosting so many hundreds of bands, just trying to be innovative, being a culinary artist, working at 5-star restaurants that no longer exist, just being involved in the scene, the AZ local scene, on a level that almost cannot, like, is almost unrivaled. Right now, nobody comes to mind immediately because there's a lot of homework for me to do still, despite living here for 23 years now, with 1 year being over in Tennessee. There's a lot for me to learn. There's a lot of faces for me to become familiar with. So I do think that this will be a good way for us to conclude our session for tonight, part 1 of many, as we hope to help Mr. Benson here conquer what is a $50,000 milestone. That way he can go ahead and cover his medical expenses, get back on his feet, get back out into the world, and continue being the legendary music enthusiast local to AZ that he has been for so many years now, knowing people like Derek, knowing people like Brandon Shobe, knowing a lot of people who I have happened to come across and looked up to as inspirations, being AZ local in the first place. Even if I don't like the state, our summers are shit. Half the time, it feels like I'm living on the scalp of a skull, right? I'm living in the dusk on the scalp of a skull because I can see everything for miles and miles. Downtown Phoenix looks like Mordor because it has a cloud of smog over it, right? Nonetheless, there's history here. There's a legacy here. And Paul is definitely part of that legacy. We need to reinforce that. We need to support that legacy, recognize it, acknowledge it, embrace it, and, well, show it the appreciation it needs. Paul, did you have anything else you were wanting to say before we go ahead and wrap up the live stream for tonight?
No, I'll save some stories for later.
Sweet. Sounds good, boss. Derek, you?
Paul, I love you. I'm going down there next week, so I think I'll be stopping by. If you and Shalise are cool with that, I will give you a forehead kiss eventually.
No, you won't. First off, fuck you, Derek.
There it is.
and with that, we thank you very much for having me. Paul, I love you. Sean, you're amazing. Thank you so much for helping my friend for doing this. When I reached out and asked if you would be interested, I didn't know if you would be. So I can't thank you enough for caring. So I am forever indebted to you.
Honestly, I was so scared and hesitant to do this today. I'm like, no, this can't be me, bro. This can't be me. There's got to be someone better. But I'm like, dude, there's like 15 minutes before you start. What the fuck are you talking about? So I'm glad it was.
I just appreciate that you cared enough to talk, my friend.
Absolutely. Like,
because for everything that Paul is, and he's all this greatness and all this stuff, like, I see him as that, but I also just see him as my friend.
Right. Exactly.
So me pretty much going to you and being like, hey, my friend needs help. You have a platform. Would you please be willing to do that? And you being like, yeah. So thank you.
Absolutely. Well, ladies and gentlemen, and everything possibly in between over on Sean Cross, who happen to support the Anatomy podcast, please go over to my Facebook, click the GoFundMe link, do what you can to support Paul here. I would actually be throwing money in myself, but quite literally, I'm getting back on my feet right now financially. Maxed out 2 credit cards. Like, it's embarrassing, really. So the moment that I have the means to just to Paul, of course I will. You better bet your ass I will. But
I gave
until
everything I could already. I love you guys.
then-
Love you too, Derek.
But with that being said, we'll see you guys next Friday about 4 p.m. Let's do 4 p.m. Next week. And yeah, just like the great Eternal Music Machine, let's keep cranking.
Thanks.
Cool.
Thank you.
Of course. What